A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
The Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation brings you Crime Photographer.
Hiya, Case.
Hi, Ethelbert.
How did Santa Claus treat you?
Fine, just fine. I'm so full of Christmas spirit, I could even kiss the city editor.
What do you know? And me, I could even forgive and forget one or two of those Christmas neckties.
Hey, some of those things are Lulus. You ought to see the one Marvin got. It lights up and spells a message.
Well, anyway, it's a beautiful sentiment.
What's it say?
The most wonderful words. Anchor Hocking, the most famous name in glass. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Tony Marvin. Every week at this time, the Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation of Lancaster, Ohio, and its more than 10,000 employees bring you another adventure of Casey, crime photographer, ace cameraman who covers the crime news of a great city. Written by Alonzo Dean Cole. Our adventure for tonight, the Santa Claus of Bums Boulevard. Christmas, about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, the Blue Note Cafe. Ethelbert, the head bartender, gazes sympathetically at the two glum faces opposite him, sighs and...
Casey, I know just how you and Miss Williams feel. It ain't right to have to work on Christmas Day.
The three of us should have different jobs, Ethelbert.
And say, Ethelbert, where's Herman Chittison?
Now, he's having Christmas dinner with his family, the lucky dog. Johnny Paul dropped in to play the piano for us today.
Oh, good. Oh, my holidays don't mean a thing in our racket, Ethelbert. Newspapers must be printed.
And guys in my profession have to stand behind bars and make with bottles.
And lemons.
Oh, well, it might be worse. At least we ain't got families.
Well, that's what makes it worse for me. My family's 1,000 miles away.
I haven't got a family anyway.
Well, you've got sisters, Casey.
Sure, they're all married. They all got families of their own and all 2,000 miles away.
My sister Edna ain't married, but you know Edna.
Yeah. Well, let's can this deep philosophical discussion, Annie, and get started for Hackett Street.
Hackett Street?
We have an assignment down there.
That's the crummiest street in town. Nothing but gin mills, flop houses, and bums.
Yeah, it's Bums Boulevard.
Why's your paper send you down there on Christmas?
For a story, of course.
Yeah. Ethelbert, you know, for the past 2 years, at exactly 1:30 on Christmas Day, a guy has shown up at the corner of Hackett and Finley with a wad of new $1 bills, which he's handed out to all the rummies around there. Then when his wad is gone, he's beat it, without telling anybody who he is, where he's from, or anything.
If he shows up again this year, City Desk wants pictures of him and a complete yarn about him. We'll play him up as the Santa Claus of Bums Boulevard.
The guy must be nuts, giving good dough away to a bunch of lushes who'll spend it on nothing better than cheap hooch. What kind of a guy is he?
Oh, probably a publicity hound, I guess. Well, come on, let's get started, Eddie.
Yeah, we haven't too much time before 1:30. So long, Ethelbert.
So long, and Merry Christmas.
Yeah, it'll be a very merry and very Christmassy Christmas among the panhandlers and drunks we're going to see. You know, the holiday spirit's a lot of malarkey anyway, unless you got a family. Come on, Annie.
Yeah, you're right, Casey.
Yeah, he's right. Walter, bring up some lemons.
Casey, we're terribly late. That man will have given away his dollar bills and be gone by the time we get
Annie,
there.
can I help it if we ran out of gas 4 blocks from the nearest open filling station?
You
I can't
could have
help
had
that.
the tank filled before it went dry.
Oh,
couldn't
sure,
you?
I'm wrong. I'm always wrong to hear you tell it. All you women do is nag.
And a Merry Christmas to you.
Oh, I'm sorry, kid. I'm a dope.
I'm sorry. I love the bracelet you gave me, Casey.
Huh? Yeah.
You have exquisite taste.
It looks swell on you. Hey, I wanted to get your ring.
A ring?
Yeah, with your birthstone. Amethyst. See, I know it.
Oh.
I didn't see any I liked.
It's just as well. I don't care for amethysts and rings.
No?
No.
Oh. Wish I could afford a family of my own, Annie.
What makes you think you can?
My pay envelope, the cost of living. Well, maybe someday.
But maybe when that someday comes, no woman will want you.
You may have something there. I've been a bachelor so long, Annie, it's become a habit. You know, this morning when I woke up in my dinky little apartment, I felt, empty and lonely and useless. I haven't got a home.
I felt the same way.
I wonder, maybe, Annie, the two of us...
What about the two of us?
Well, nuts. Look at this crummy street and the people on it. How can anybody think of home and a family life down here? How can anybody believe in anything or dream of anything? Every one of these bums, Annie, had big ideas once, and now look at him.
This street is frightening, isn't it?
Anybody reaches here, he's finished.
The last stop. There's a crowd lined up at the next corner, Casey. Is that where they...
Yeah, that's the place where the dollar bill Santa Claus has shown up before.
Well, maybe he's been there and gone.
Mm-mm. No, if that were so, those rum-dums wouldn't be standing in line. They'd all be in the nearest gin mill spending the dough or fighting to get it away from each other. Well, I'll park the car here and walk the rest of the way.
Yeah, the car may be safer away from that mob.
That's how I figure. Let's see, I got the camera. Lock the car. Okay, let's go.
It's 1:45, Casey. According to his previous schedule, Santa Claus is 15 minutes late. Maybe he won't show up.
It'll be a big Christmas thirst on Bums Boulevard if he doesn't. Sorry.
Pardon, this I didn't see you.
Okay, sister. Take it easy now.
I'm all right. Don't I know you?
I don't think so. Holy. Miss Arnold.
We're both mistaken. I don't know you, and you don't know me. Excuse me for bumping you. Goodbye. Casey, what?
Annie. That dame is Julia Arnold.
Julia Arnold?
She was a big actress, a great star.
Julia? She was a Broadway sensation when I was in college. Why, she was beautiful. Oh, Casey, that woman can't...
The way she denied her identity proves she is, Annie. I heard that Julia Arnold hit the skids, but...
Oh,
she was married to a nice guy who got killed in the war, and then her kid died. It's not nice, is it?
And spare dime, mister? Just a dime.
I guess so, old-timer. Let me see.
I ain't a drinking man, mister. I'll spend it for food, not liquor.
You don't look like a rummy.
I ain't. I'm just old. You can ask anybody around here about Smitty. That's me. They'll tell you Smitty don't drink, don't steal. The worst they'll tell you about Smitty is he's just too old.
Look, I haven't got any small change, Smitty. Here's $1.
Oh, and here's another for me.
$2? Oh, God bless you both.
Forget it.
Yeah. Goodbye.
Merry Christmas to you. Merry Christmas.
And Merry Christmas.
You didn't look like a faker, Casey.
No, just old.
Christmas.
There are plenty of fakers in that mob we're coming to, though.
Oh, they look like a line of zombies.
Yeah. Dead and won't lie down. Not that big guy over there, though, Annie. That big, heavy-set mug, the green lumberjack coat.
Oh, he looks like a prize fighter.
I know that guy. His name is Boots Driscoll. He's a yellow skunk. He's mean as a copperhead. You know, that louse would steal pennies from Kid, and he's the boss of Bums Boulevard.
I gather you don't like him.
I don't.
Well, look who's here.
Hello, Boots.
Hi, Casey. I ain't seen you since...
Yeah, since the last time you came out of the big house.
That's right. Who's the good-looking dame with you?
This lady's a friend of mine.
Well, ain't you going to introduce us?
Nope.
Oh. What are you doing down here in my territory?
Came to get a line on the screwball who hands out new dollar bills on Christmas. Apparently he's late.
Yeah, the louse. When he shows up, I got a good mind to kick his head in.
Yeah, not until after he hands out his dough, of course. Think he'll show up?
The folks think so because they want to think it. Me, I just stick around and keep everybody in line.
So you got them all lined up?
Yep. First come, first served, if and when Santa Claus gets here. All right, stop pushing, you bums. Get back in line there.
Of course, you'll get something for your policing service.
Well, why not? Them jerks would tear one another to pieces fighting for a grab at them bucks like they did last year if I wasn't around. This year, I'm taking a cut of 35 cents out of every bum here to keep things peaceful.
Boots, you've got all the instincts of a big racketeer.
I'll say.
Where's the racket part? This is a legitimate business.
I guess it is at that for you. This way you're getting the dough without using a gat or brass knuckles.
Say, if that's meant as a crank...
Skip it, Boots. I'm nearly as big as you are.
Boots.
Right.
Casey, that awful looking man.
Boots.
What do you want, Creep?
Creep's a good name for him.
Hey, the guy who passes out dough. Santa Claus. I just found him.
You found him?
Yeah. In the alley back of Fritz's gin mill. Somebody socked him on the head and took all his dough. I think the guy's dead.
Dead?
Dead.
Yeah, dead.
Dead? Hey, you bums stay here. Show me, Creep.
Yeah, come on.
We're going too, Annie.
I'll say we are.
There he is, Boots. Lying behind a beer keg.
Yeah, I see him, Creep. Hey, his pockets have been turned out. He's been rolled.
There ain't a dime left on him.
You'd be sure of that.
He's so still, Casey. Is he dead?
No. His heart's good and strong, Annie. But he's been knocked out.
He's such a little man. Such a mild, gentle-looking little man. Oh, who could have done
I'll find out who took the dough he meant to give us. And when I do...
Shut up, Boots. The guy just opened his eyes. He's coming to.
Yeah.
Who are you?
Just a guy who wants to help you, mister.
My head aches.
Yeah. It'd be a miracle if it didn't. Been slugged hard.
Yes. Something hit me.
Did you see the rat who hit you? The rat who took your dough?
My dough?
Yeah, you've been rolled, fella. Your money's gone.
Oh, the money.
Who got it?
I can't say.
How much did you have on you?
$300 in new $1 bills.
$300.
Maybe the cops can get it back. Annie, see if we can find that telephone.
No, don't call the police.
Why not? You've been assaulted and robbed.
But my head doesn't hurt very much now. I haven't been really injured. And I'm sure the thief will return the money.
Return?
When he becomes aware that it belongs to his neighbors, to his comrades down here. You see, I meant to give it away.
You think the thief will return it on that account?
When he thinks about it, yes.
This guy must be nuts.
Thieves can be good people.
Mister, you haven't been around much.
You got as much chance of getting that dough back as I have of being elected a Supreme Court judge.
If you had taken the money, wouldn't you return it under the circumstances?
Me? Well, of course. I'm different.
Yeah. You're different from the guy who got the 300, Boots. He has it and you haven't. But maybe I'm wrong.
Hey, what do you mean?
At what time do you think you were hit and robbed, mister?
I entered the alley at about 20 minutes of 2.
And I've been on that corner where you met me, Casey, ever since 1 o'clock. Every bum in that line will say so. You can't pin this on me.
Okay, Boots, but you should understand my natural suspicion.
Yeah.
You, Creep.
Yes, sir.
What were you doing in this alley when you found him?
Well, I was just walking through, honest. I seen a foot sticking out from in back of them kegs, and well, when I looked closer, there this guy was. Well, I didn't take his dough, Boots. Don't look at me like that.
I believe you, Creep. Why shouldn't I?
Well, I don't.
Let go of my collar.
Shut up, Creep. Mr. Santa Claus, whether you like it or not, I'm going to find a cop and have this Creep guy searched.
Wait. You're not the wrong person. And I will make no complaint.
What?
There's nothing you can do, Casey, if that's how the little guy wants it.
It is how I want it.
You gotta let me go.
Okay. If you insist on being a sap, mister, it's your hard luck, not mine. Well, come on, Annie. Let's get out of here.
Well, I'd like to, Casey, but I've been assigned to interview this gentleman.
I know, that's so, yeah.
Interview me?
Yeah. To begin with, what's your name?
Why, Shepherd.
Shepherd?
Yes.
Your first name?
No.
Oh, Casey, catch him.
That got him.
Hey, the guy passed out.
The crack on the head did more damage than he admitted.
Look, there's a clinic up the street. We'll get him to a doc.
I guess you can take care of him alone, huh, Casey?
Yes, I won't need your help,
We parked our car near here this alley, Casey. No
Okay, Annie.
Well, I'll be getting along myself, Boots. So long.
Oh, no, Creep.
Hey, why you grabbing my arm?
You're going to give me that $300 you took.
Our story will continue in just a moment. All of us at Anchor Hocking want to wish you a Merry Christmas. We hope that this great day has brought you all the joys that were so carefully planned. The gaily decorated tree, the happy exchange of gifts, the reminiscences of a united family group. Yes, Christmas is a great day for getting together, a time of goodwill, good cheer, and good food. Food that you can buy with all its freshness, taste, and purity perfectly preserved. For this, we have to thank the many great organizations who process and ship us our better foods and who know that flavor, purity, and freshness are best preserved in clean, sanitary glass containers. Containers that preserve and safeguard flavor and taste while they permit you to see in advance exactly what you're buying. Anchor Hocking is proud that so many of the leading brands of food of all kinds come to you in Anchor glass containers, sealed with Anchor caps. Products of Anchor Hocking. The most famous name in glass.
Are you sure you feel all right now, Mr. Shepard?
Yes, Miss Williams.
Doc said you got a really nasty crack on the head. I'll drive you home. He wants you to stay in bed for a few days.
Thank you, but men are seldom as sick as their learned physicians say. I'm quite all right.
Just the same, we're taking you to your home.
Yeah. Where do you live?
Very close by.
What? You mean in this neighborhood?
Yes, but I have some unfinished business to attend to before I lie down, Mr. Casey. That money hasn't been returned yet.
If you get it back, Mr. Shepard, I'll believe in the faith that moves mountains.
Mountains have been moved by steam shovels, Miss Williams. And man's faith in himself created the steam shovel.
By that you mean you're going to do something to persuade the thief?
I shall only remain near the thief so he can find me.
I don't get you.
Casey.
Huh?
Look.
Holy, it's that Creep guy.
His face is terribly bruised.
He must have crashed into a 10-ton truck.
Yeah, he's dragging himself along.
Hey, Creep, what happened to you?
How did...
Boots beat me up.
Boots?
Yeah, in the alley after you left.
Why?
He thought I took that $300. He beat me up and then searched me. But he didn't find it because I didn't have it. Hey, buy me a drink, will you? I need a drink.
We're going to take you into the clinic and get you patched up.
No. When the docs get the mitts on guys like me, they send us to the hospital where we can't get no liquor. So, just buy me a shot, mister, huh? That's all I need.
I'm going to...
We'll serve this man best by doing as he asks, Casey. At the moment, his body needs its accustomed alcohol more than his bruises need medical treatment.
You're a wise guy, mister. You're a real gent.
Unfortunately, I have no money to give him.
All right, Creep, I'll buy you a drink. And I'll go into a gin mill with you. While you tell me more about finding Mr. Shepard in that alley.
I already told you all I know.
Now, we'll talk about that later. Come on. We'll go into this joint here.
Yeah.
Oh, this is an awful place, Casey.
Yeah, it is. You stay outside, Annie.
Oh, why, sure. There's another woman at the bar.
Huh? Yes. That's Julia Arnold.
Oh, I see. The actress.
Yeah. You coming in too, Mr. Shepard?
Yes, thank you.
Hey, Gus. Hey, give me a shot, huh? Give me a shot quick.
Well, I see you got the dough to pay for it, Creep.
I'm paying for his drink.
Oh. Well, you gents and lady have.
Nothing for me.
Oh, neither.
I'll have a little wine.
Hey, one of the gents ain't ashamed to have a drink with a likes of me, Gus.
What kind of wine, mister?
Plain red wine.
Alky for me, Gus, and quick.
Okay.
All right, now we'll do some talking, Creep. Mr. Shepard says he went into that alley at around 20 minutes of 2. Where were you at that time?
Mr. Casey, no purpose can be served by questioning this man. I'm making no complaint to the police, and
You may condone a crime, Shepard, but I don't.
I don't condone the crime. I'm forgiving it.
Well, we wouldn't have much law and order if everyone did that.
Perhaps we'd have more, Miss Williams.
This guy just don't care about $300, eh?
Here your drinks.
Give me, Gus.
The money wasn't mine, Mr. Casey. I'd have given it away in another few minutes.
And a lot of good it would have done him. $1 a piece that'd slide across bars like this for raw alcohol. Mr. Shepard, you seem like an awful nice guy, but it's time somebody taught you the facts of life.
Few can teach the facts of life, Mr. Casey. Few but little children. Because man forgets the simplicity of childhood. He forgets that all the world is one great family. I think our friend Creep would like another drink.
Yeah. And thanks a million, mister. Hey, Gus.
Okay, creep. Be with you in a minute.
Hey, Gus.
What do you want, Julie?
Another drink, of course.
You drank up the bucket, Gammy.
Casey, that fine act.
Come here, Gus. Come here.
There's nothing anybody can do for her, Annie. Julia Arnold's hit bottom.
Look, I fooled you, Gus. I held out. I got another dollar bill.
Another brand new one, Julia.
Another new.
Where'd you get this dough? When you were in here this noon, you said you didn't have a dime.
Julie found them, Gus. I found them, and I got more hid away.
You hear that, Shepard? I heard. When she leaves this place, we follow.
She's turned it into the same alley where you were robbed, Mr. Shepard.
I see, Miss Williams.
We saw her come out of that same alley just a little while before Creep found you.
Poor woman.
Yeah, it's a rotten shame. Julia Arnold was a fine person once.
She can be a fine person again. Casey, why didn't you let Creep come here with us?
Oh, because these bums all stick together. I know how they act. He might have tipped off Julia Arnold that we're trailing her.
She's going down into that cellar, Casey.
Come on, we don't want to lose her.
Wait. That man.
Boots Driscoll.
He was hiding behind those ash cans. Now he's going down in the cellar.
As though he were watching for Julia Arnold, as though he's following her now. Come on, let's go.
There are rooms down here.
She probably lives in this cellar.
Yeah, but which door?
Get out of here!
Her voice.
That door, Casey.
We're going in, all right. What? Let her go, Boots. I said let her go.
They broke my arm.
What's the big idea, Boots?
Ask her.
He came to rob me. He said he'd make me tell where my money was hid.
And you're going to tell me all of you. Stick up your hand.
Casey.
The man has a gun. I see.
Stick 'em up, I said.
Okay, Boots. But you're losing what little mind you ever had, a lousy $300.
Shut up, Casey. This is my territory. I'm boss, and I don't take no double crossing. Hand it over, Julie, or...
I haven't $300. I don't know what you're talking about.
Hand it over.
Don't shoot. I'll give you what I have. I found $6 bills in the alley today. You have the 4 I have left.
You're bluffing, but I ain't. Give me that $300. Keep back, Casey. You get it first.
You're crazy, Boots. Listen.
Shut up. This is your last chance, Julie. Give me that $300 or...
Oh, Boots.
What?
She ain't got it.
Creep.
I got it. I stole it and I hid it. Here it is.
You lousy double-crosser.
Mr. Shepard, I'm sorry for what I did to you. I ain't never been no good. Standing at that bar with you, you were drinking with me like I wasn't just a rat. I don't know. I had to get the dough I'd hid and bring it to you. I'm sorry I had to hand it over to Boots.
You gave it to him to save this woman's life, Creep.
Yeah, I guess I did. Another thing, I dropped them 6 new dollar bills on purpose in the alley when I saw Julie coming so she'd find them and spend them and take the rap from me.
There'll be no rap for anyone.
You said it. None of you birds are going to live to squeal on me.
You don't want to shoot us, Boots.
Don't I?
Do you?
I got myself in too deep.
Not yet. You haven't taken life. And your life isn't finished.
I ain't going to finish it and stir. I got a chance and none of you talk.
Yes, you have. Why don't you shoot us, Boots?
Well, I'm gonna.
When?
Shut up. I can't shoot a guy who talks like you do.
Words have never stopped a bullet or a true desire.
Nuts. Here, Casey, take this gat and this dough and send for the cops. I'm tired of being a phony tough guy.
Shall I send for the cops, Mr. Shepard?
If you wish, Casey.
You're running this.
We have $300. Everyone seems to agree that my original plan for its distribution was unwise. What do you suggest we do with it? May I have your suggestion, Creep?
I tried to frame Julie. Give it to her.
And your suggestion, Boots?
Give it to Julie.
It's yours, Miss Arnold.
Mine? $300. Oh, I can buy a decent dress. Once I earned that much for a single performance, I can do it again.
If you believe so.
But I don't need this money you intended for the poor. I'm not poor. God gave me gifts I've squandered. I still have some left. They're all I need. Give this money to the really poor.
What shall I do with it, Casey? Mr. Shepard? You're still running this.
We'll join the crowd at the Blue Note in just a moment. Perhaps among your Christmas gifts, you received a beautiful set of jadeite dinnerware. Then you already know how attractive it will look on your table. And in the months to come, you'll learn that jadeite dinnerware is as sturdy and heat-proof as it is lovely to look at. You'll be proud of your jadeite dinnerware because of its beautiful texture, its color, its flawless design. And your guests will hardly believe that this jade green dinnerware costs so little. But incredible as it may seem, you can buy a 35-piece jadeite dinner service, including 6 cups, 6 saucers, 6 dessert plates, 6 salad plates, 6 dinner plates, 1 vegetable bowl, a platter, and a sugar and creamer set for less than $5. And jadeite is also available in open stock at chain stores, department stores, and most other stores selling chinaware and glass. Remember the name, jadeite. That's spelled Jadeite. Jadeite, the newest triumph of anchor hocking. The most famous name in glass.
So Mr. Shepard gave the dough to that old man who panhandled you and Miss Williams, huh, Casey?
Yeah. Smitty, who didn't drink and didn't steal. Was just old.
What do you suppose Smitty did with it, Ethelbert?
How should I know?
He was so happy he had to make others feel the same way. He played Santa Claus.
You mean?
Yeah. He stood on the corner of Bums Boulevard and handed out those dollar bills.
Funny, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He was like a little child who hadn't forgotten that all the world is one big family.
That's a pretty thought.
I got it from Mr. Shepard.
He sounds like a very interesting guy. What'd you find out about him, Miss Williams? Him personal, I mean.
Nothing. While we were watching old Smitty give his money away, Mr. Shepard wandered off and we lost him.
Think we'll find him again?
Well, I hope so.
So do I.
But you don't know his address or even what business he's in?
No. But he told me he was once a carpenter.
Starring Stotts Cotsworth as Casey, is brought to you each Thursday by the Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation, makers of Fire King Oven Glass, Anchor Glass Containers, Anchor Caps and Closures, all products of Anchor Hocking, the most famous name in glass. John Deeks. The original music is by Archie Blyer, and the program features Miss Van Miner as Anne and John Gibson as Ethelbert. This is Tony Marvin saying goodnight for the Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation of Lancaster, Ohio, with offices in all principal cities of the United States and Canada. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System. The Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation brings you Crime Photographer. Happy New Year, Casey. Happy New Year, Ethelbert.
Same to you, Marvin.
Hey, you know this 1948 is going to be a great year.
Why so?
Why, don't you know? It's leap year.
And just what can leap year mean to you?
Why, I'm surprised at you, Ethelbert. Don't you know that means an extra Thursday?
So what?
So what? That extra Thursday gives me an extra chance to say that Anchor Hawking is the most famous name in class. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Tony Marvin. Every week at this time, the Anchor Hawking Glass Corporation of Lancaster, Ohio, and its more than 10,000 employees bring you another adventure of Casey, crime photographer, ace cameraman who covers the crime news of a great city. Written by Alonzo Dean Cole, our adventure for tonight, Hot New Year's Party. Nine on the morning of New Year's Day. And to some people, that hour on that day can be very bleak and dismal. Ethelbert, the head bartender of the Blue Note Cafe, is obviously not one of those unfortunates, for we find him in the morning.
Oh, what a beautiful thing. Hi, Walter.
Yeah,
Bring up 2 more bottles of aspirin. They're going to be our best sellers today.
okay.
Oh, what a beautiful... Well, look who's here. Happy New Year, Casey. And same to you, Miss Williams. What's the matter with you two?
Ask Walter to bring us a couple of cups of coffee, pal.
Strong and black.
And slip me an aspirin tablet.
Make that a double order.
Hey, Walter, draw 2.
Coming up. What's Hermit Chittison doing here? Practicing at this hour in the morning?
He couldn't get home on account of the snow. He slept here all night.
Oh.
Here's some special headache medicine for you to stay out all night.
We haven't been stay out all night.
I know. Like good, sensible folks, you left the party early, just before daylight. And then you got all of an hour's sleep before you had to come to work on an 8 a.m. shift.
He's a wise guy, Annie.
Yeah.
You should have been like me. I wasn't on duty last night, but did I spend my leisure time in idle revelry? I did not. At 12 o'clock, my sister Edna and me wished one another a happy new year over a glass of good, healthful milk. Then I retired and enjoyed a fine, refreshing sleep. So, on this beautiful morning, you find me full of vim, vigor, and vitamins. Have another aspirin on the house.
Shall I kill this guy quickly, Annie? Listen, vim, vigor, and vitamins. The reason Miss Williams and I feel beat up is that ever since a few minutes after we reported for work this morning, we've been inhaling smoke.
Smoke?
There was another warehouse fire this morning near Chatham Circle.
That's the only New Year's party we've attended, and it was a red-hot one, too.
Bad fire, huh?
Yeah, plenty bad.
Oh, here's Walter with our coffee.
Oh, thanks, Walter. Happy New Year. Boys, and welcome, too.
Thanks, Walter.
Okay. Your papers kind of hinted that them warehouse fires lately have been arson jobs, Miss Williams.
Oh, we're morally certain of it, Ethelbert. And that Jake Schultz is the man behind them.
He and his mob make a deal with the owners of them places to split the fire insurance, huh?
That's right. That's the racket.
Skinny Jake Schultz is a pretty smart cookie, I hear. Neither the cops or the fire inspectors has ever got anything on him.
Well, if he's behind the torch job we just covered, he isn't so smart. And this one let somebody in for a hot seat rap.
What do you mean?
Well, the fire was set at night, and there was a human being in the building, an old watchman. That means arson in the first degree. The watchman got out all right, but a fireman was killed by falling timbers. And when death is caused through commission of first-degree arson, it becomes first-degree murder.
And a reliable witness says that he saw 3 men run out of the warehouse a few minutes before the fire was discovered. He's given the police a first-class description of them.
Was one of them Schultz?
No, of course not. Dick doesn't do any firebug stuff himself. If one of those 3 guys is caught and sings, it's going to be too bad for his boss man. Annie, how about some more coffee?
No, we don't have time, Casey.
That's
We've
right.
got to get out to Barstow College.
Well, there's no hurry about that.
Yes, there is. city desk wants the dope on Professor Wendell right away.
Well, who's Professor Wendell and what's he doing?
Oh, he's a teacher at Barstow College. He went for a walk last night and he hasn't come back.
Now, the professor who shares an apartment with Wendell just reported his disappearance to the Missing Persons Bureau.
Well, he thinks the guy has met with foul play?
That's right. Well, if we must, Danny. Come on, let's get started at Professor Gerber's place.
But this Professor Gerber's the one who reported the mysterious vanishing of this Professor Wendell.
That's right. After we waste our time with him, Wendell will undoubtedly show up with a perfectly good reason for staying out all night.
Well, I'm perfectly willing to waste time on such cases today. I'd like to start the new year safely and sanely.
Me too, Annie, me too. To establish a precedent for 1948, no jams and no trouble, nothing but peace, sweetness, and light.
Instead of just a hope, why don't you two make that a New Year's resolution?
Well, that's a good idea, pal.
Excellent. We here highly resolve
That for the coming year,
and starting now,
no jams,
no trouble,
nothing but peace, sweetness, and light.
Professor Wendell and I have shared this apartment for over 5 years, Miss Williams, ever since he lost his wife. I know him, and I'm certain he wouldn't stay out all night without notifying me if he was able to do so.
Oh, when did you see him last, Professor Gerber?
He attended a New Year's party at the Teachers' Club, a most decorous affair, I assure you. Shortly after toasting the arrival of the New Year with a glass of sherry, he left saying he was going to take a bus to Chatham Circle.
Chatham Circle?
He liked to wander around there.
That's a tough neighborhood.
I know it, Mr. Casey, and I have repeatedly warned Professor Wendell to keep out of such neighborhoods, especially after dark. But to him, they were most interesting because of the criminal element he found there.
He was interested in the criminal element?
Very much so. Frankly, instead of the brilliant authority on ancient civilizations which Professor Wendell has been for many years, I am certain that he would rather have been a private detective.
An amateur Sherlock Holmes.
He more particularly admired a fictional character called Dr. Thorndyke.
Casey, if he was snooping around Chatham Circle early this morning, he may have seen something he wasn't supposed to see.
Yeah, that warehouse fire was started early this morning, Annie.
A warehouse fire?
Look, will you give us a description of your friend, Professor Gerber?
Clarence Wendell is a small man, about 5 feet 3, I should say, and he weighs not more than 130 pounds. He has light blue eyes, thin gray hair, and wears gold-rimmed spectacles. Last night he wore a dark blue overcoat, black felt hat.
Casey.
Professor, did you give that description to the cops when you reported him missing?
Oh, of course. I gave them a photograph of Clarence.
And it didn't mean anything to them?
Mean anything?
Well, it exactly fits the witness description of one of 3 men who ran out of the Chatham Circle warehouse early this morning, just before it caught on fire.
I don't understand.
Well, the Missing Persons Bureau men who talked to Professor Gerber wouldn't necessarily know about that arson business, Annie.
Oh, no, that's right. It's being handled by the homicide squad.
Will you please explain?
Now, there's more important things to do first, Professor. If you don't mind, where's your phone? I want to call Captain Logan of Homicide and get him to check with Missing Persons right away.
That's all you're going to do, Casey. Just phone. Remember our New Year's resolution.
Casey, I got hold of that warehouse witness right after you phoned me. When he looked at the photograph Missing Persons had of Professor Wendell, he identified it immediately.
Wendell was the little guy he saw coming out of the warehouse, Logan, right?
Yeah, between the 2 other men. He hasn't been able to identify the others from pictures in our criminal file.
And the witness saw Wendell between the other guys?
Yeah. Now he recalls that both had a grip on the little man's arms.
Well, when Professor Wendell was playing detective last night, he accidentally stumbled onto the arsonists while they were setting the fire. And they kidnapped him to keep him quiet.
That's the way it looks, Miss Williams. Which doesn't help us find Wendell or the firebug.
Well, like the fire inspectors, you think that Jake Schultz mob is behind it?
Sure, but suspicion and proof are very different things. We haven't a single lead to work on.
Professor Wendell's a definitely...
He's a definite complication.
Huh?
If 2 of Schultz's torches put the snatch on him this morning because he caught him setting a fire, they probably bumped him off by now.
Oh. Logan, I don't think Professor Wendell has been bumped off.
Why?
Casey, the gang won't dare let him live if he saw what we think he did.
Oh, they'll give him the works eventually, Annie. But Jake Schultz is going to do a whole lot of thinking before he okays a murder that would hit the front pages and stay there. Logan, Jake's in the fire business, but he does his best to avoid strong heat.
Yeah. I'll have Skinny Jake and his mob brought in. We'll force information out of them.
No, you won't force anything out of Jake or his mob. That's been tried before.
Do you know of anything else we can try?
I can try something.
You?
Yeah.
What?
I'll have to keep to myself. There can't be any cops in the picture, Logan.
Meaning you know some crook who might be persuaded to spill?
Meaning you ask no questions and I answer none, now or later.
Okay. Help me find Professor Wendell alive, and you can write your own ticket.
Attaboy, Logan. Thank you. I'll get started right away. Now, stick around your office here, and I'll phone you after I make my contact.
I'll be near the phone.
So long.
Oh, I'm going with you. See you later, Captain.
Okay, Miss Williams. And carry your luckiest horseshoe, Casey.
Yeah, I guess I'll need it, pal.
Oh, what are you going to do, Casey?
Annie, I'm going to leave you as soon as we reach the street door.
Not unless you tell me what this is all about.
Look, kid, I can't tell anyone.
Well, then I'll trail you.
Well, if you do, you may wreck the one chance of finding Professor Wendell alive.
Okay. Well, just tell me one thing, off the record. Where are you going?
Completely off the record, Annie. Nick Morrow's tavern.
Oh, the Schultz mob hangs out at Nick Morrow's. Jake Schultz owns the place.
Yeah?
Casey, you'll be sticking your neck out down there. Quite a few of the mob know you. Schultz knows you.
I'll be okay, Annie.
Well, maybe. Resolutions are so easily broken, Casey, we should only have hoped for a safe and sane 1948.
Today, a lot of you probably met jadeite dinnerware for the first time, because jadeite is the perfect solution to the problem raised by an unusually large number of guests. Jadeite cups and saucers, jadeite dessert plates and salad plates, jadeite dinner plates, soup plates, vegetable bowls, and platters are as lovely as Chinese porcelain. They're as heat-proof as the Fire King oven glass you use for baking, yet they're so inexpensive that you can buy all the extra pieces you need for entertaining without making a dent in your budget. For example, jadeite cups and saucers cost only 15 cents for the 2 pieces, and you can buy a complete 35-piece dinner service for 6 for less than $5. Now, you'll find jadeite dinnerware at chain stores, hardware stores, department stores, and all other stores selling chinaware and glass. Ask for jadeite by name. Now it's spelled Jadeite. Jadeite, newest triumph of anchor hocking. The most famous name in glass.
No, Red Monahan ain't in the back room, Casey. He ain't been in the joint at all today.
Well, I'll stick around, Nick. You'll probably be in later. Give me a beer, will you?
Okay.
The bar do a big New Year's business last night, Nick?
I can't complain. You still running with the cops, Casey?
Why, Nick, I don't know what you mean. I'm a newspaper guy.
Sure, I know. Here's your beer.
Thanks, Nick.
What do you want to see Red Monahan about?
If it's any of your business, Nick, I want to thank him for the Christmas card he sent me.
You've been waiting here over an hour for me, Casey?
That's okay, Red. That's okay.
Oh, it ain't okay. You're one guy I wouldn't keep waiting for no reason.
Well, let's sit down here. Over the corner table there, and we can talk privately.
Yeah, okay. Hey, Nick, we're going to sit down. Bring me and my pal Casey a drink.
Okay, Red.
Come on, Casey. It's good to see you. Here, take a load off your face. Now, what's on your mind?
I'm going to ask a favor of you, Red.
Favor?
Yeah.
I owe you a debt, fella. One I can't ever pay. My only kid would be dead if it wasn't for you. I'll never forget how you pulled her out of the river when she was drowning.
Here's your drinks.
Oh, thanks, Nick.
That's all, Nick. Thanks.
Tell me, what can I do for you, Casey?
And I'll give it to you quick and straight, Red. I want Professor Wendell.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I think you do. I know how close you are to Schultz. Nick, I give him a word. That the cops don't know and won't know that I'm talking to you. All I want is that little professor, and I want him alive.
I ain't got the slightest idea what you're driving at, pal. I swear I ain't.
Say you owe me a debt, Red. Under ordinary circumstances, that's a debt that only a heel would try to collect. But under these circumstances, I asked Wendell's life in exchange for your kid.
I can't give it to you.
Because he's been killed?
No, he ain't been killed. I tell you, I don't know anything about him.
Can't lie to me, Red. Look, you're a crook, but you're not a murderer. If you don't tell me where to find Professor Wendell, you'll be committing murder right now, just as surely as though you held a gun to the guy's
I
head.
ain't even seen the guy, Casey. I won't see him.
You know what I mean. Keep your nose clean, fella.
I ain't no squeal. I don't rat.
You're ratting on a debt. You owe me a life.
Okay, Casey, I'm coming clean with you. But I had no part in anything that happened this morning.
Where is the professor?
Being kept in an old house out in Bristol Road. While Schultz makes up his mind when and how to bump him over.
Where on Bristol Road?
East of Old Turnpike. Third farmhouse on the right-hand side.
Third farmhouse on the right, yeah.
Yeah, now get out of here, Casey. It's curtain for me if the mob finds out that I told
Nobody will ever find it out from me, Red. Thanks a million and so on.
So,
What's the matter?
So, Jake. Just came out of the back room with two guys in the mob.
Hello, Red.
Hi, Jake. Hi, Maury. That's Vic, Sam. Yeah, hi.
Casey. I haven't seen you for a long time.
Well, I haven't been around your way, Schultz.
Nick phoned me a while ago that you were waiting here for our pal Red. Knowing how he feels about you on account of his kid, I decided to come over.
You, in the back way?
Uh-huh. I've been sitting in the back room, listening through the wall.
Listening? You heard?
Yeah, plenty. Walk into that back room, both of you. Your hands in sight. Get going.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, we've got a car in the alley, and you two dopes are getting into it.
What are you going to do to it, Jake?
Yes, can't you, Red?
Yeah. And I ain't going to tell you. That goes for me, too, Red. You can clean these bugs up.
Don't shoot, guys. It might bring the cops.
Hey, this Casey's getting my gas, though.
No, he isn't.
You got him with your blackjack.
Yeah, Casey's out of the picture now, Red.
I got right under control, Jake. What's happened anyway?
I'm doing just that.
Now they're both out cold.
Yeah, but not cold enough. You and Murray, put him in the car, Sam, and we'll all go for a ride. That's a good spot, Sam. Stop the car.
Okay, boss.
Now, Red, this is the end of the ride for you and Casey.
Hey, they can't hear you, Jake.
Huh?
When you sock the back of Nick's joint, you've done an A1 job.
Still out, eh?
And how?
All right, pull him out of the car and roll him into the ditch here.
Yeah, give me your hand, Sam.
Hey, Maury. Come on. Got him? Yeah, got him. Pull him back. All right.
All right, now get back in the driver's seat, Sam. You, Murray, give me a slug through the head.
Me?
Yes, you heard me.
Hey, you're afraid of killing, ain't you, Jake?
Oh, I'm not afraid of it. I've just been smart enough to keep myself and you guys clear of it. Now we've got no choice.
But you want someone else to do it.
Well, do it if you haven't got the guts. Get back in the car.
Yeah, that suits me fine. Hey, where you getting into?
I'll shoot from here. Sam, be ready to step on the gas when I do. This isn't a private road.
I'll be ready. I got the busting gear and my foot on the clutch.
Let them guys in the ditch have it, Jake.
All right, I'm letting them have it.
Hey, a car's coming, boss. From behind us.
I see it. Get away, Sam.
I can't.
He only shot one guy, Jake.
I can't do any more shooting now. Get away from that car behind us, Sam. Get away.
Well, you certainly had that lucky horseshoe with you, Casey. We found Red Monahan lying beside you in the ditch with a bullet through his chest. You only had an egg-sized lump on the back of your head.
Oh, Casey didn't get off so easy, Captain Logan. He was unconscious for almost 2 hours after he was brought to this hospital.
Well, the doc says he's all right now, Miss Williams.
Yeah, it's all right, honey. I'm okay.
I've been so worried.
Forget it, kid. They killed poor Red.
No, he's going to pull through. Doc didn't get him in a vital spot.
Oh, I'm glad of that. I'm glad. No, Red's more than a half-right guy, much more. But you want to know what happened?
Take it easy, pal. You were delirious for a while after they brought you here, and you did a lot of talking.
He kept saying that Red Monahan had told you that Professor Wendell was being held prisoner in a house on Bristol Road.
The old turnpike, third farmhouse on the right.
I said all that when I was out.
Over and over.
Well, then you went to Bristol Road and found the professor.
And our guys went there, pal, but too late.
Schultz and the men with him evidently knew they hadn't killed the case.
They lost no time in taking Professor Wendell away. We found the house empty. Haven't any idea where they've taken him.
Well, you found a possible lead in that Bristol Road farmhouse, Captain. Go ahead, showcase it.
Lead?
That thing's no lead, Miss Williams. It merely proves that Professor Wendell was in the house.
What'd you find, Logan?
He found a belt.
A belt?
With Professor Wendell's initials on the buckle.
Now, take a look, pal. Miss Williams insists that these cuts in the edges of the belt mean something.
Well, they're fresh cuts, Casey. See?
Yeah. When we found the belt in a room where Wendell was probably held prisoner, we figured that those cuts might be some sort of a tip-off about where he'd been taken from there. It hasn't worked out that way.
Funny cuts, aren't they? Some straight, some slanting, and irregularly spaced.
Wendell knew that an ordinary written message wouldn't help him. The men guarding him would have found it and destroyed it. I'm sure these cuts are a message in code.
Our cipher expert at headquarters didn't recognize it as any code.
Well, your chief cipher experts were taking New Year's Day off, Captain. The men on duty are apprentices.
Yeah.
Does that mean anything to you, Casey?
No, not a thing.
It makes it unanimous. They're Greek as far as all of us are concerned.
Greek? Annie, wait a minute. Professor Goebel told us that Wendell was an authority on ancient civilization. Have you shown this belt to Gerber or whatever his name is, Logan?
No, but I phoned him.
All right, we're going to show it to him right now.
Casey, you can't get out of bed.
I'm out. Beat it, Annie. Come on, let me get dressed. I want to hear what Professor Gerber says when he sees this cut-up belt.
All right, I'm going.
You're right, Mr. Casey. The belt conveys a message.
It does, Professor Gerber?
Yes, in the oldest secret codes that history records. The ancient Spartans used it to convey secret military information. It is called citily. Professor Wendell hoped to bring this to me, Captain Logan.
He did, huh?
He must have. He knew I'd be able to read it.
Why are you wrapping that belt around your arm?
So that I may be able to decipher its markings, Miss Williams. You see, to write a citily message, the ancients wrapped a strip of papyrus, long and narrow, like this belt, around a staff of predetermined circumference. Spirally, with the edge of each spiral joining that of another. Then on the joining edges, they wrote the secret information they wished to impart. When the strip was unwound from the staff, nothing but apparently idle markings were visible on its edges. Now, the belt is completely wound about my arm. See its message display?
No, not to me. All I see is that the edges of the cut meet.
But the cuts form letters, Captain.
Greek letters.
Greek, Logan. Ann knows she's been to college.
Well, what do they say?
In rough translation, they are taking me to Diana's house.
Diana's house?
Diana was the Roman name for the Greek goddess Artemis.
Say, I'm not a shark on the classics, but I get it.
So do I, Logan.
Well, I don't.
Neither do I.
Professor Gerber, Annie, the name of Skinny Jake Schultz's best girlfriend is Diana. And to get away from the classics entirely, it's Diana McGillicuddy.
I never thought Schultz would take Wendell to such an obvious hideout, Casey.
Neither did I, Logan, which means Schultz has been smarter than we are. Well, all right, let's go.
All set, Captain Logan. We have the joint surrounded.
Men are ready to break in from all sides, Sergeant?
As soon as they hear your whistle, sir.
I'll hear that as soon as I get to the front door. Now, you stay there, Casey.
Oh, no. I got a little personal matter to settle with Skinny Jake Schultz. I got a hunch he's in Diana's house.
You should still be in the hospital, you Sam.
All right, but I'm not. Okay, blow your whistle, pal.
I haven't got time to argue with you. This is it, guys.
They're coming in from all sides.
Pick 'em up. That means you, Schultz.
Oh, no, you're not going to take me.
You're wrong, Jake.
Oh, Casey.
I owed him that KO, Logan. And I owe these other two mugs something, too.
No. We've given up.
Now, lay off, Casey.
Let me go, Logan. Let me go.
Cut it. This is a police job. You can take the pictures, but you can't make them.
Well, all right, Logan. But I want good shots. With Professor Wendell in them.
Where is Wendell, you mug?
He ain't been hurt. He's down in the cellar.
Yeah. Sergeant, bring him up. I'll get my camera set.
You can't take pictures of the professor for the newspaper.
Hey, not for decent newspapers.
Why not, you mutts?
Oh, on account of...
Because, some way,
the professor lost the belt that kept his pants up.
Yeah, and then suddenly he lost his pants.
We'll join the crowd at the Blue Note in just a moment. You know, tonight we're nearing the end of the holiday season, and to those of you who are exhausted, here's a suggestion. A good hot cup of coffee which you can prepare in an instant, without fuss, without work, and without waiting even a minute. Now, I'm talking about soluble coffee, the amazing scientific discovery which makes really delicious coffee available at a moment's notice. Now, all you need is a cup, a spoon, and a glass jar. The sanitary, convenient Anchor glass jar in which most of the better packers of soluble coffee bring you their products. The Anchor glass jar opens quickly and simply. There's no trouble in measuring, no waste in spilling, and even more important, glass jars protect the flavor and freshness of soluble coffee against moisture long after they're open. You'll be delighted by the delicious soluble coffees now on the market, particularly those that come to you in convenient Anchor glass containers sealed with Anchor caps. Both products of Anchor Hocking. The most famous name in glass.
Them pictures you took of Professor Wendell after he was rescued was very different, Casey. The first time I ever saw pictures of a college professor wrapped in a blanket. He looked just like an Indian.
Professor Wendell didn't like to have him taken that way, Ethelbert, even though Casey was responsible for his rescue. He was kind of burned up.
Yeah. He wasn't as burned up as Jake Schultz and his hired firebugs are going to be.
No, they're facing murder and kidnapping charges. And with plenty of evidence to back them up.
As the result of Casey busting some nice New Year's resolutions, Miss Williams.
Yeah. The safe and sane 1948.
You started swell. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
Let's enlarge the idea. And no kidding.
You got something there, Ethelbert. All right, all together.
Happy New Year to everyone. To everyone. Excuse me.
Crime Photographer, starring Stotts Cotsworth as Casey, is brought to you each Thursday by the Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation, makers of Fire King Oven Glass, Anchor Glass Containers, Anchor Caps and Closures, all products of Anchor Hocking, the most famous name in glass. The Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation brings you Crime Photographer.
Hi, Ethelbert. How's things?
Okay, Casey. Say, Tony was in here and he dropped his card.
Let me see it. It says AHTMFNIG. I wonder what that
Here
means.
comes Tony now.
Hey, wait a minute. See if I can get him. Hi, Tony. What does AHTMFNIG mean, huh?
Oh, what, you don't know? Why, everybody knows, Casey.
Huh?
Everybody knows that means Anchor Hocking, the most famous name in glass. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Tony Marvin. Every week at this time, the Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation of Lancaster, Ohio, and its more than 10,000 employees bring you another adventure of Casey, crime photographer, ace cameraman who covers the crime news of a great city. Written by Alonzo Dean Cole, our adventure for tonight, Queen of the Amazon. Late afternoon, the Blue Note Cafe. The door opens, admitting a flurry of snow, a blast of freezing air, and a very cold Casey. Ethelbert, the head bartender, sir.
Well, look who's here.
Oh, give me a warmer up, Ethelbert, quick. Got any fresh coffee?
Sure, Casey. Chilly out, huh?
Chilly. My fingers are dropping off, and there's no feeling in my feet. I think they're going to drop off.
I guess winter's pretty hard on you delicate people.
Nuts to you.
Here, this will make you feel better.
Thanks, pal. Thanks.
Where's Miss Williams?
Oh, she's trying to thaw out over at the office. We just finished an 18-mile drive. I thought we'd both freeze before we get back.
Oh, here's Miss Williams now.
Hello, Ethelbert.
Hi, Annie. Come on, sit down. Ethelbert, get her a cup of coffee.
No, Ethelbert. No can do. Casey, we've just been handed another assignment.
What? We just got back?
No, you know how kind-hearted City Desk is. We now get back into our nice cold automobile and drive out to a little farm near the Lindenhurst Aircraft Plant.
Oh, near Lindenhurst Aircraft. Well, that's 20 miles out and 20 miles back.
Yeah, that's all. And we cover an attempted burglary.
An attempted burglary? Oh.
The woman who runs the farm caught the burglars before they could take anything. The two yeggs are now in cells at the old Turnpike police station.
Annie, there's no news value in that kind of a yarn. Certainly not enough to warrant a 40-mile drive in zero weather. Listen, I'm going to go up and talk to that murderer that calls himself a city editor. I'm going to tell him...
Now, hold it, Casey.
What?
We're going to have a swell comedy story.
Comedy?
Mm-hmm. The two would-be burglars took quite a beating from the little farmerette who discovered them. You see, she used to be with a circus. Her specialty was bending iron bars into pretzel shape. And she was billed as Marina, Queen of the Amazon.
A circus strong woman.
Uh-huh.
Imagine two dopey yeggs trying to rob a circus strong lady.
Yeah.
You think it'll be worth a long, cold drive, Casey?
Nothing's worth that, but let's go. Oh, swell business, this newspaper, Rex. Only dope stick to it, Annie. My feet are like chunks of ice. I can hardly work the brakes in this
Oh,
car.
now stop crabbing, Casey. I'm cold, too.
What, you are? Oh, here, look, let me tuck that blanket around you a little better.
Okay.
There you are, honey. You know, City Desk shouldn't have sent you out here on a day like this.
Why not? I'm no softy. And I'm looking forward to meeting Marina, Queen of the Amazon. She sounds interesting.
Sounds like a homely mess of muscle with the personality of a male gorilla.
Oh, that must be her place. Just ahead of us.
Yeah. Say, look, has she got a regular name, or do we just address her as Your Majesty, Queen Marina?
Her real name is Millicent Hodges.
Millicent?
Mm-hmm. It's a nice-looking farmhouse she has.
Not bad. Well, I'll turn in and we'll park in the driveway.
Oh, she's back near those chicken houses. That must be her, Casey.
Yeah. Is she big?
I guess 6 feet 2 at least.
Good 300 pounds. None of it's fat. I'm going to stop here.
Now she's seen us. She's coming over.
Hey, Annie, you know something? She's got a pretty face, kind of a baby face.
Yeah. Let's get out.
There's something I can do for you folks?
Are you Miss Millicent Hodges?
Yeah, that's me.
We're from the Morning Express. We'd like to get the facts about the trouble you had here today.
Oh, I didn't have no trouble, mister. That's what them two fellers had who tried to rob me.
Yeah, I can believe that. This is Miss Williams. My name is Casey.
Pleased to meet you.
Hello, Miss Hodges.
I kind of figured some of your reporters would be getting out here pretty soon.
Well, I hope you won't mind telling us about what happened.
Yes, I don't mind. Like you probably heard, I used to be with a circus, and my kind of folks never hate publicity. Oh, but no use talking out here in cold. Come inside the house where it's warm.
Oh, that suits me fine.
Me too.
I like cold, bracing days like this, but they must be kind of tough on you little people.
Oh, that'll hold you for a while, Casey.
Hey, step in.
Thanks.
Oh, heat again. This is swell.
Get yourself chairs near the stove and sit. Oh, here's a nice, comfortable one, Miss Williams. I'll take my knitting off it.
Oh, you're knitting socks.
Uh-huh. We're gentlemen friends.
I wish I was your gentleman friend, Miss Hodges.
Why, Mr. Casey.
Oh, those socks will really keep a guy's feet from freezing. Look at the wool in them, Annie.
And Miss Hodges knits beautifully.
Argyle.
Oh, it is Miss Hodges, isn't it?
Well, that's right. I ain't ever been married yet. But you want to hear how I caught them two bums and knocked their heads together?
Yes.
Yeah, I'd like to shoot some pictures of you, too.
Oh, I hope you don't mind if I powder my nose and push up my hair first. I wouldn't like the circus folks who know me to think I'm letting myself go since I went back to farming.
Sure, Miss Hodges, go right ahead.
When did you leave the circus? And you said you went back to farming?
After the old folks died and with the war coming on, it seemed growing food was more important than weightlifting. Oh, well, now, you can take my pictures anytime you want to. Oh, I hope I look a little better than I did before.
You look swell.
He's one of them flattering men, ain't he, Miss Williams?
Well, I've never noticed it.
Look, if you'll sit down and tell Miss Williams your story, I'll just take some informal shots while you're talking. And then Later, I'll ask you to pose for a few.
All right. Well, about them burglars. Now, I left the house to go out to the cow barn, which I do at just that time every day. Until a week ago, I had a good old watchdog who stayed here while I did such chores, but he died suddenly. Got something poison, I think.
Oh, well, that's a shame.
Well, when I got inside the barn, I remembered that I clean forgot something. So I started to go back for it. And what did I see but a couple of strange fellas sneaking into my house by the back door? Oh, Mr. Casey, you took a picture.
Yes, Miss Hodges.
Oh, I hope it didn't look awful.
Mm-hmm. I snapped it then because I thought you looked especially nice.
I don't trust you at all.
I never lie to a good-looking woman.
Oh, you.
Getting back to your story, how long do you usually stay in that cow barn, Miss Hodges?
At that time, a good hour at least.
Well, then, if you hadn't forgotten something and gone back to
them fellas would have gotten away with what they tried to do. But they didn't. I snuck back to the house soft and easy. It must have taken me a good 15 or 20 minutes. And here was them two burglars trying to bust open the trunk in my bedroom. Before they had time to think, I grabbed them, taught them a lesson, and phoned the cops to come and pick up the pieces.
They were trying to open a trunk in your bedroom?
Yeah. Come on, I'll show you. There. That old circus prop trunk.
Looks more like a steel safe than a trunk.
Well, it was built special to carry the big weights I used in my act. It's almost as strong as a safe, and there's a doggone good lock on it. Take a long time to open that trunk without a key, and I always carry that with me.
You keep something valuable in that trunk, Miss Hodges?
Why, nothing any burglar could cash in on, very heavy. I use it for storage. There's mostly just clothes in there and linens. Miss Williams, well, it's kind of what you call my hope chest.
I see.
Just because a girl is big doesn't mean she has to die an old maid.
Well, you're not the old maid type, Miss Hodges.
I ain't going to be one either.
Say, is everything in this room just as it was when you discovered those two men?
Pretty near the same.
This dresser set looks like silver.
Heavy sterling. I won it in the ladies' wrestling contest.
This very handsome clock.
The case is solid 18-karat gold. I got it for busting a hammer throw record.
They were here in plain sight when those men were here.
Just as you see them now.
Well, Miss Hodges, why do you suppose they didn't take these things instead of trying to open that trunk?
The cops asked me that, and the answer is, I got no idea. There isn't anything in that trunk that'd do anyone but me the slightest bit of good. Oh, there's my doorbell. Excuse me.
Yes, go ahead.
Casey, why do you suppose...
This attempted burglary is becoming interesting, Annie. Why do you suppose that watchdog was poisoned last week?
Oh, I'd forgotten about that.
Ambrose, Queenie, my darling. Ambrose, I have company. Company? Oh, Miss Williams. Mr. Casey, will you come out here?
Sure, Miss Hodges.
Oh, I want you to meet my friend, Mr. Higginbotham.
How are you?
Mr. Higginbotham?
How do you do?
Mr. Higginbotham works at the Lindenhurst Aircraft. He's one of their most valuable men. Miss Williams and Mr. Casey are from the newspaper, Ambrose.
Oh, about the burglary, I suppose.
You heard about them burglars, Ambrose?
Yes, the policeman told one of the guards at the plant, and the guard told me. I'm so glad you caught those crooks, Queenie.
They were trying to get into our trunk. They might have cleaned me out of house and home if I hadn't stopped them.
Yes. Were you and Miss Williams just about to leave, Mr. Casey?
Leave?
Well, I've told you all there is to tell.
Oh, I've only taken one picture of you, Miss Hodges.
Oh, well, take the pictures, of course.
I suppose I shoot one of you and Mr. Higginbotham together.
No, I've had nothing to do with the burglary. I mean, I can be of no interest to your newspaper readers.
Oh, Ambrose is the retiring kind, Mr. Casey. Why not have one of us two together, Ambrose? It'll be all right now.
No.
Okay. Well, I'll take a few more of Miss Hodges alone, then we'll be on our way. And then, Ann, we'll stop at the old Turnpike Precinct Station and see what the cops have learned about those two men that tried to rob you, Miss Hodges.
Why will you do that?
Well, it's my line of business, Mr. Higginbotham. And besides that, I'm a curious guy.
I got a headquarters report on the fingerprints of those two eggs just before you and Miss Williams walked into the station here, Casey.
Yeah?
One of them is Gus Newton.
Gus Newton?
Well, he's a notorious safecracker.
One of the cleverest boxmen in the racket.
Well, he's always going out for furs and jewelry, big stuff.
Yeah. He must have been awfully low in the chips to be prowling a farmhouse.
Well, did you make him talk any?
You can make his kind talk, Miss Williams. Or guys like the other fella.
Who's the other fella, Sarge?
Name's Loader. The FBI want him for suspected espionage and illegal entry into this country. Funny, ain't it?
Yeah. So what do you know about a guy named Ambrose Higginbotham, Sarge?
Oh, he's the little shrimp Big Queenie's sweet on. Works for the Lindenhurst aircraft.
Yeah, that's the guy. Is he okay?
He couldn't hold a job at Lindenhurst if he wasn't. They're doing some hush-hush government stuff there, and their employees are investigated pretty thoroughly. Why do you ask about him?
No, just curious.
What do you know about Miss Hodges, Sergeant Rourke?
Plenty, Miss William, and all of it good. Queenie's a little weak in the head where men are concerned. Her size makes most guys fight shy of her, and she don't like it that way. But a better woman hasn't been made yet.
I figured that. Well, thanks, Sarge. Come along, Annie. We'll do back at the office.
Yeah. So long, Sergeant.
Drop in again when you're out here in the States.
Yeah, we will. So long.
So long.
I hate to face this cold again.
Me too. After I drop you at the office, Ann, I'll have this trip to make again.
Why?
Because I'd like to know more about that big trunk of Miss Hodges. I'm going to pay her another visit this evening.
You mean we'll pay her another visit?
No, Annie. I'm making this call alone.
Oh, why?
Annie, look. Miss Hodges is a gal. When a guy wants to make himself popular in Florida, he doesn't go there with a crate of California oranges.
You know, once most weddings were in June, but today there are almost as many marriages in January. So if you have the problem of selecting a wedding gift, I'd like to suggest Anchor Hocking's amazing new kind of dinnerware, Jadeite. Now, it's spelled Jadeite, Jadeite. And Jadeite has the color and texture of rare oriental jade. Yet it's as sturdy and heat-proof as the oven glass you use for baking. And it costs less than half as much as any other dinnerware you can buy. A 35-piece Jadeite dinner service for 6, including 6 cups, 6 saucers, 6 dessert plates, 6 salad plates, 6 dinner plates, a big vegetable bowl, a platter, and a sugar and creamer set costs less than $5. Now, naturally, you needn't wait for a wedding to buy Jadeite. You'll find it in open stock at chain stores, department and hardware stores, as well as other stores selling chinaware and glass. Now, remember the name, Jadeite, the newest triumph of Anchor Hocking. The most famous name in glass.
Good evening, Miss Hodges. I hope you'll forgive me for intruding on you again, but some of the pictures I took of you this afternoon didn't do you justice, I thought, and, well, I thought you might be kind enough to let me shoot some more.
Why, of course. Come in.
Oh, thanks very much.
That pretty little lady, Miss Williams, isn't with you.
No. Oh, that good-looking gentleman I met here, Mr. Higginbotham, gone.
Ambrose left just a few minutes ago. I cooked dinner for him.
You did? Lucky guy. Bet you're a swell cook.
Well, I know how to do a few things besides lifting quarter-ton barbells.
I've already guessed that.
Pick up your overcoat, Mr. Casey.
Thanks.
Don't you feel the cold when you go out again?
Thanks. Oh, wait, I got something in my pocket. Hope you won't think I'm presuming too much on short acquaintance if well, this is for you.
The box of
Your chocolate creams. Hope you like them.
Oh, they're my favorite candy.
I'm glad.
Oh. Well, I suppose you want to take those pictures as soon as possible so you can get back to your office. I'll go pat him a note.
Oh, I'm in no hurry. No. Matter of fact, I'd like to talk to you while Miss Hodges gets better acquainted.
What do you mean, Mr. Casey?
Well, it isn't often a man meets a woman like you.
No, it ain't. I'm a freak. A female giant. Only a few like me in the whole world. But I ain't brainless, Mr. Casey, and not altogether. I don't like to be kidded. You ain't trying to kid me, are you?
No, Miss Hodges.
I figured you for a nice guy. Say, you don't have to call me Miss Hodges. My friends call me Queenie, and we're going to be friends.
I hope so. Really?
I know so, Casey.
Thanks. Oh, nut. I was trying to put something over on you, and it made me feel like a louse. Well, my cards are face up from this time on.
What do you mean?
I haven't come out here because I want more pictures or because I'm a wolf on the hunt. I'm here to find out what you've got in that trunk that those burglars tried to open. You said you used the trunk for a hope chest.
I do. And what business is it of yours, Mr. Casey?
It's none. None of my business. I know that. I'm not a cop who has a right to question you. I'm just a newspaper stiff out for pictures and exclusive stories. And you don't have to give them to me.
I'm a sap for folks who lay their cards on the table. I'll tell you what you want to know, Casey.
Thanks.
But learning about that trunk won't give you any big news feed. This has been a secret up to now. Ambrose and I are going to be married.
You and Mr. Higginbottom?
Uh-huh. Let's make that old trunk more than just a hope chest. It's full of things I've accumulated for our wedding. Clothes, nice linens, plus a lot of U.S. savings bonds Ambrose has given me to put away.
Savings bonds?
Yeah, made out in my name. That's why I told you this afternoon that nothing in the trunk could do a burglar any good.
But there's nothing there but clothes and linen and savings bonds in your name?
In my name and his. Oh, I'll open the trunk and show you. Come on. Ambrose and I have been having some little arguments about them bonds. You see, he's been giving them to me at least one a week ever since we got secretly engaged last September. We kept our engagement secret because he was getting a divorce.
Oh, divorce?
Uh-huh. It was only 10 days ago, and then to celebrate, he wanted me to let him have the bonds so as he could cash them in and buy me a swell wedding present.
I see.
But I said, no, we'll just let them bonds stay as they are and draw interest. They're the only wedding present I want, I told him.
But 10 days ago, you refused to let him have the bonds.
Yeah. He was pretty sore about it. And he was sore again tonight because I wouldn't let him have them after them burglars were here. He'll get over his mad. I carry the only key to this trunk around my neck. It's kind of precious to me. It's my future, Mr. Casey.
Yes, I understand.
Yeah. Now, it's open. See for yourself. The bonds are in this compartment in them sealed manila envelopes.
In sealed envelopes?
Yeah, Ambrose gave them to me that way so I get a big surprise when they're finally open. You see, I don't know how big those bonds are. Some may be only 25, some may be hundreds or bigger.
Queenie, will you open one of those envelopes now?
Oh, I couldn't do that.
Then I'll have to do it.
No, give me that. I won't let you.
It's too late now to stop me. Look.
It ain't a bond. It's just paper.
Draftsman's tracing paper.
It's a plan of some kind.
It's like only a small section of a plan, like part of an airplane wing.
I don't understand.
I think I do. Queenie, your Ambrose works in the drafting room of Lindenhurst Aircraft. They've been working on jet propulsion planes, and your Ambrose has been tracing blueprints. He didn't dare keep those tracings, so he tricked you into keeping them. When his copying was complete, he tried to get the sections back from you, but you refused to let him have those envelopes, which accounts for the attempted burglary today.
Oh, you don't mean that Ambrose...
Miss Hodges, one of the burglars you caught here is a known enemy of our government.
I can't believe it.
Because you're a fool.
Ambrose!
Hello, Higginbottom.
Put up your hands, both of you.
Okay.
Put them up, Queenie, or I shoot.
All right, Ambrose.
Now, stay that way. I saw your car pull up in front of this house tonight, Mr. Casey. I thought it best to stay around. I let myself in very quietly and have been listening.
You're selling out your country. You're something I hoped I'd never meet. A traitor.
Certain people pay me well for those plans.
And you conned me into helping you.
Nobody would suspect you of hiding stolen plans, and it was so easy to make you believe that I was your devoted future husband.
Yeah, it was a sin.
Until now, fella, I thought a worm was the lowest thing on earth.
Your opinion doesn't matter to me, Casey, or hers either. In a few minutes, you'll both be very dead, but first I'll take my savings bonds from this trunk.
No, you won't. Don't lock it.
Well worked, Queenie. When he had his eyes on you, I got him. Pick up that gun I knocked out of his hand.
Oh, I ain't bothered with any gun. I just want my hands on that rat. Don't let her touch me. Help! Marco!
Put up your hand.
I forgot to tell you, fools, I had friends outside.
Come in, Joe. This Ambrose, this weakling, had to call for our help. He could not handle these people alone.
This Casey jumped me, Marco. She should have killed me.
You're a bungler. You even let her lock the trunk again.
She has the key in her hand.
Take it from her, Joe.
Yes, Captain.
You don't have to take it. I'll give it to him. Here.
Captain, it is broken. Useless.
I I just busted it in pieces for you, and it's the only key there is.
Queenie, you're some gal.
Ambrose, the garage adjoins this house?
Yes, sir. There's a door into it from the kitchen.
You and Mr. Casey will proceed to that garage, Miss Hodges.
I ain't going
Ain't got the drop on us, Queenie. Better do as they say.
You're correct, Mr. Casey. Both of you, go.
All right.
Open that door, Ambrose.
I will.
You ready, Joe?
Yes, Captain.
Go into that garage, Miss Hodges and Casey.
Okay.
Joe, now.
Look out, Casey. Oh, you hit him from behind. I'll fix you.
Get this big woman, too, with your blackjack.
I'm trying. She almost got us first.
She is more strong as a elephant. Get rope. Bind their hands and feet and gag them.
Why don't you kill them now, Marco? Get it over.
The important thing now is to get those plans.
The lock is very loose now, Captain. It's beginning to break free.
It is taking a very long time.
It's strong lock. Riveted to steel. I have broke it off.
At last. Open the lid.
There are the envelopes, Marco.
I see them, Ambrose. I put them in my pockets.
Now, you'll pay me for them. The complete plan is there, ready to assemble. The complete plan, the secret plan.
You will be paid. First, I have another appointment to make. Those two in the garage.
You mean you're going to kill them now?
Yes. Bring that little crowbar, Joe. It will be a quiet instrument of execution. Come, both of you.
I'm looking forward to this. That Casey nearly twisted my arm off, and Queen...
There will be nothing personal in their punishment, Ambrose.
I don't care why or how they get what's coming to them, just so they don't get it before they can turn me over to the FBI.
Joe, you bound them very securely?
Yes. Even the big woman could not get free, Captain. See? They lie on the floor just like we left them.
Their eyes are open. They have recovered consciousness. That's good. Put away your gun, Ambrose. None of us need such noisy weapons now.
You're the boss, Marco.
Yeah.
The woman off my throat.
Free.
It's nice of you guys to come within our reach. I've finished my mug, Queenie.
Oh, so have I. Now it's your turn, Ambrose. Let me go, Queenie. Don't.
Not too hard, Queenie. Leave something for the cops to take away.
Oh, they'll take Ambrose away in sections, just like he stole them plans. What?
The window.
Oh, someone's crashing in the door.
Pick up your hand. Who? FBI man. FBI. You heard me, Casey.
Bill Travers.
You surprised?
Surprise? Am I? How did you get here? Why?
We've been waiting for Higginbotham and these guys to come out of the house and walk into our arms. But then when we heard a battle going on in the garage here, it seemed best to cut in. Hey, you've done a job on these birds.
Wait a minute, Bill. You knew about Higginbotham and those stolen plans?
Well, the FBI doesn't miss many bets, Casey.
I'll say they don't.
Well, we've been wise to little Ambrose ever since he first traced the section of a secret jet plane blueprint and smuggled it out of the Lindenhurst plant. And after that, we made it easy for him to trace and smuggle out sections of the wrong blueprint.
The wrong one?
That's right. You see, we had an idea that Higginbotham was using this place as a hideout for the false plan. But our real concern was to find the big boys.
You mean you were watching them in this house when I came here?
Uh-huh. We saw you come into the house, but we couldn't identify in the darkness. You were an unexpected development that caused us a little worry. Why did you come here?
Well, I was sticking my nose into something I might have known you FBI guys would have under control. Say, Bill, look, I got a camera around somewhere. How about letting me do a job I do know something about?
We'll join the crowd at the Blue Note in just a moment, but first let me ask you a question. Tell me, are you proud of the coffee you serve? Well, here's a way to make delicious coffee at a moment's notice without fuss or bother of any kind. All you need is a spoon, a cup, and a glass jar. A glass jar of soluble coffee. Put a spoonful of this delicious new kind of coffee in a cup, add hot water. That's all there is to it. But be sure your soluble coffee comes to you in convenient Anchor glass jars. That Anchor glass jar saves you so much trouble in measuring. There's no waste from spilling. And what's more important, glass jars protect the flavor and freshness of soluble coffee against harmful moisture long after the jar is opened. Enjoy a cup of good coffee whenever you want it. There's no more fuss or bother than pouring out a cup of hot water. Use soluble coffee out of clean, sanitary Anchor glass containers. You know, 2/3 of the packers of soluble coffee protect their products by using clean, sanitary Anchor glass containers and Anchor caps. Both products of Anchor Hocking. The most famous name in glass.
Well, that's what happened, Ethelbert. And Annie, you know, I still feel like a dope.
Well, why? You brought back a good story and some swell exclusive pictures.
I ain't heard all the story yet. After them fellas bound you and Miss Hodges hand and foot, Casey, how'd you get free?
Oh, that?
Yeah.
Well, there was a car in the garage with old tire chains on the wheels.
Old tire chain?
Some of the links were worn so thin that the edges were like knives, and that's how we used them.
Huh. That Queenie must be a swell fella.
Oh, yeah. She's aces. Annie, you know what she's going to do?
What?
She's promised to knit me wool socks.
Looks like you're going to have some romantic competition, Miss Williams. As my sister Edna says, quote, in the wintertime, the way to a man's heart begins with a pair of warm feet. Unquote.
Crime Photographer, starring Stotts Cotsworth as Casey, is brought to you each Thursday by the Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation, makers of Fire King Oven Glass, Anchor Glass Containers, Anchor Caps and Closures. All products of Anchor Hocking, the most famous name in glass. Crime Photographer is directed by John Dietz. The original music is by Archie Blyer, and the program features Miss Jan Miner as Anne and John Gibson as Ethelbert. The part of Queenie was played by Hope Emerson, and Herman Chittison is the Blue Note pianist. This is Tony Marvin saying goodnight for the Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation of Lancaster, Ohio, with offices in all principal cities of the United States and Canada. This is CBS, where 99 million people gather every week, the Columbia Broadcasting System. The Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation brings you Crime Photographer.
Hiya, Tony.
Oh, okay, Ethelbert. What's doing?
Not much. We're just waiting.
Oh, waiting for what?
Waiting for you to say those wonderful words.
Oh, you mean about Anchor Hocking being the most famous name in glass? Well, not going to say 'em.
And why not?
Well, because I think the Anchor Hocking people would rather have me remind everybody that the March of Dimes begins today.
Say, that's right. And I hope that everybody wants to be in step with that famous march.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Tony Marvin. Every week at this time, the Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation of Lancaster, Ohio, and its more than 10,000 employees bring you another adventure of Casey, Crime Photographer, ace cameraman who covers the crime news of a great city. Written by Alonzo Dean Cole, our adventure for tonight, The Miracle. Late afternoon, the richly furnished master bedroom of an imposing mansion. Beside a great canopied bed stand a handsome, dark-haired young woman and a deferential, quietly dressed young man. In the bed itself lies an older man, gray-faced and wrinkled, in whose sunken eyes lie pain and fear. In a voice that quavers with weakness, he says,
Shouldn't that doctor be here by this time?
It's less than half an hour since Mr. Weldon telephoned him, Father.
Less than half an hour. That means nothing to you, Marion. You have years of life ahead of you. The doctors say I have only a few months at most. Weldon, you really believe this new doctor can save me?
Dr. von Tellberg has accomplished some remarkable cures, Mr. Blaine. I have great faith in him.
I should have sent for him weeks ago instead of only today. Marion, it was your fault I didn't.
I don't share your secretary's faith in this Dr. von Tellberg, Father. As I've told you before, other medical men consider him a charlatan.
Other medical men are envious of his success, Miss Blaine.
What success, Mr. Weldon? The man runs a tiny private hospital where he claims to cure diseases that reputable physicians pronounce incurable. And according to my information, he hasn't proved a single one of his claims.
Only because organized medicine refuses to accept his proofs, Miss Blaine.
Marion, I don't think you want me to get well.
Father!
Even if this von Tellberg is a quack, he's my last hope. I'm only 55 years old. A rich man. Someone's got to save me. I can't die. I can't.
That may be.
Come in.
Dr. von Tellberg is here, Miss Blaine.
Bring him in, Andrews. Bring him in.
Yes, sir. Doctor?
Thank you. Good afternoon.
I am Foster Blaine, Dr. von Tellberg. This is my daughter.
How do you do?
You already know my private secretary, Homer Weldon. He tells me some wonderful things about you, Doctor.
I hope to deserve his praise, sir.
You wish to examine Father. I'll leave you alone.
Please stay, Miss Blaine. An examination at this time is unnecessary. Mr. Weldon has provided me with your father's latest X-ray photographs, which I have carefully studied. Mr. Blaine, I can practically guarantee to restore you to health.
You practically guarantee?
Yes, but I will effect your cure only upon my own terms.
If you can save me anything.
Then when you will be removed to my private hospital this evening.
No, I won't have it.
So there can be no later question of our understanding. I have prepared this simple contract. You will please read and sign it, Mr. Blaine. Your daughter will sign, too.
I'll never sign it.
You'll do as I say.
Very well.
When this is signed, Miss Blaine, much will have been purchased.
Good morning.
Morning. I'm Casey, and this is Miss Williams. We're from the Morning Express. We have an appointment with Miss Blaine.
Oh, yes, will you please come in?
Thank you.
Right.
Andrews, is that?
It's the lady and gentleman from the newspaper, Miss Blaine.
Miss Williams, I'm delighted to see you again.
Hello, Miss Blaine.
And Mr. Casey.
It's very flattering to have you remember us.
How could I ever forget you? If it hadn't been for you, I wouldn't have gotten back a lot of stolen jewelry several years ago. And to show my appreciation, I determined that you'd have the first and exclusive story about Dad.
Well, we're certainly grateful.
I'll say we are, and we're tickled that you have such a story to hand out.
A miracle has happened, Mr. Casey. A perfect miracle.
Your father's completely recovered?
He's a new man. 6 months ago, well, as all of my friends know, I had no hope. I had no faith in Dr. von Tellberg, and thank heaven I was wrong. Wait till you see Father.
Well, we're very happy for you, Miss Blaine.
Come into the living room and sit down. Father and Dr. von Tellberg will join us. Andrews, ask them to come here, and Mr. Weldon.
Very good, Miss Blaine.
We've heard of this Dr. Hans von Tellberg. He runs a little private sanitarium out on the edge of town, doesn't he?
Yes, you've probably heard, as I had, that other physicians consider him a quack.
Well, frankly, that's the general impression.
I believed him a charlatan at first. Oh, here's Father now. Father.
Andrews just told us your friends were here.
You remember Miss Williams and Mr. Casey?
Well, naturally. They did us a big favor once. It's nice to see both of you again.
Thanks, Mr. Blaine.
Yeah.
You look at Dad as though you'd never seen him before.
Well, it's been only 2 years since, but the change is astounding.
You look like a new man, Mr. Blaine.
I've simply recovered my health. And here's the man who restored it to me. Miss Williams, Mr. Casey, Dr. von Tellberg. How do you do?
Doctor.
Nice to know you.
And you've met Homer Weldon, my secretary?
At the time of the robbery, 2 years ago.
Oh, yes, yeah. Glad to see you again, Weldon.
So am I.
Thank you.
Now, I know you'll want to take pictures and hear the complete story of the great thing Dr. von Tellberg's done for me, so
we're at your disposal.
Oh, thanks. Mr. Blaine, only the last time we saw you, you were living on borrowed time. You looked it. The doctors told us what was wrong with you. Now, well, I just can't get over this.
Neither can I, Casey. I've never believed in modern miracles before.
Well, Annie, we're looking at one, I think.
I don't know what's eating you, Casey. Gee whiz, doctors are making new discoveries every day.
Doctors like this Von Telberg don't make them, Ethelbert.
Well, now, how can you say that, Casey, when we've seen the proof in Mr. Blaine's appearance?
The thing just doesn't ring true, Annie, that's all. Blaine went into that hospital on his last legs and looking at least 70 years old, and he comes out a peppy guy of about 55.
You're not playing with the idea that Von Telberg has rung in an imposter for Blaine, now are you?
You said his personal secretary and his own daughter accepted him as the real thing.
Well, the secretary was responsible for placing Blaine in Von Telberg's care, Ethelbert. And Marion Blaine wouldn't be too hard to fool, because her father's cure, well, that must be a wish fulfillment for her.
What's known about this Dr. Von Telberg, Miss Williams?
Well, very little. He's convinced the authorities that he's qualified to practice medicine, but most of his life has been spent in Germany.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to check on a guy like that, too. Anyhow, for my dough, he's a crook. And with the publicity he'll get out of Foster Blaine's cure, he stands to make a couple of $1 million, Ethelbert. With newspaper stiffs like Miss Williams and me helping him do it.
But we've seen evidence of his cure, Casey. Well, he deserves the success we'll help bring him.
Maybe. We'll see.
Hello, Ann Williams speaking.
This is Marion Blaine.
Oh, Miss Blaine, how are you?
I'm all right, thanks.
And your father?
He's just as you saw him last, a month ago.
Oh, that's splendid.
Miss Williams, I'd like to have a talk with you and with Mr. Casey. A confidential talk.
Well, you sound upset. Is anything wrong?
No, I don't think so, but can the two of you come to the house at 8:30 this evening?
Well, yes. We'll be off duty then.
I hope to be alone at that time, except for the servants. I'll expect you.
Well, Miss Blaine, what is this all about?
I can't tell you over the phone. I mustn't talk any more now. Please come. Goodbye.
Well.
Please come in.
Thanks, Andrews.
I'll tell Miss Blaine you're here.
Oh, there she is now.
Miss Williams and Mr. Casey, I'm so glad to see you. You may go, Andrews.
Yes, Miss Blaine.
Come with me. I'm going to take you two into the conservatory. Through here, where we can be alone. Contrary to my expectations, Mr. Weldon is here tonight, and Father.
What's this all about, Miss Blaine?
Wait. Step in.
Okay.
Sit down while I close these doors.
To say that you've aroused our curiosity would be an understatement, Miss Blaine.
Yeah.
Miss Williams, Mr. Casey, I'm afraid.
Afraid of what?
Before I say what I'm compelled to say, I must be sure you will respect my confidence. I shan't be speaking for publication, at least not now.
All right, it'll be off the record.
Yes, of course.
Thank you. I know how experienced you are with the criminal side of life. I know nobody else who can advise and help me.
Go on.
Mr. Casey, it's been a month since my father came home from Dr. Von Telberg's private hospital. You remember how happy I was to have him back, how convinced I was of the miracle that had apparently happened.
But apparently?
I use that word because I've been thinking a great deal. You see, during the months Father spent under Dr. Von Telberg's care, I was permitted to visit him for not more than 5 minutes each day. On most of those days, he never spoke to me because he was under the influence of drugs. And on none of those days was I able to really see him.
What do you mean by that?
His room was always kept dark.
Dark?
Well, exactly what are you driving at, Miss Blaine?
I'm beginning to wonder if the man Dr. Von Telberg brought to this house is really my father.
Casey.
Shh. Someone's outside that door.
Well, this is
a pleasant surprise.
Oh, and Mr. Blaine.
I had no idea you had visitors, Marion. Nice to see you, Miss Williams. How are you, Casey?
Very well, thanks.
Come in, Weldon. Some old friends of ours are here.
So I see. Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Weldon.
Hello. Weldon, tell Andrews to bring drinks out here for all of us.
Very well, Mr. Blaine.
I hope we're not intruding, Marion.
No, of course not. Father.
I was sure you'd make your old dad welcome. Were you in the midst of a conversation you wish to continue? If so, don't let me interrupt.
We were merely talking about the weather.
You two think Blaine was listening outside that conservatory door?
We're sure of it, Captain.
And that Secretary Weldon was listening with him, Logan.
What happened after Blaine and Weldon joined you, Casey?
They never left us until finally we had to leave them and go home.
And this happened the night before last, huh?
Tell Logan about yesterday, Annie.
Yeah, well, I phoned Miss Blaine several times, but was unable to reach her until late afternoon. And then, well, she told me everything was all right and to forget the whole thing.
Forget?
She said all her doubts about Blaine had been settled, and she was reconvinced that he was her father.
Which sounds to me as though some pressure had been brought to bear on her.
Well, it's an interesting story, but in case you've forgotten, this is the Homicide Bureau. What do you expect me to do about it?
Prevent a possible homicide by putting Marion Blaine under protection.
And investigate a possible homicide.
Whose homicide?
Well, if the present Foster Blaine is an imposter, what happened to the real one?
Look, there's no evidence whatsoever that the present Foster Blaine is an imposter. Good Lord, Casey, the guy's accepted as the real McCoy by people who've known him for years. And what's more important, banks honor the checks that guy draws as Foster Blaine.
Because of those checks, the bank honors. There's a couple of $1 million worth of reason for an imposture, Logan. Look, we know that nature never makes exact duplicates. Even twins are different. But everyone is resembled by hundreds of other people. Right. Given 6 months alone with two guys who are closely similar, a clever, unscrupulous surgeon could make one the image of the other.
Plastic surgery.
Well, of course.
And given 6 months of careful coaching by a confidential secretary, the imitator would be well able to pass as the real thing.
Yeah, you two may have something after all. I want to have a good look at Mr. Foster Blaine.
And take a keen doctor with you, Logan. If any plastic work has been done, he'll know it.
Yeah, I'll take it. Excuse me. Homicide Bureau, Captain Logan speaking. Who? Yeah, I've got it. Go on. Well, keep everyone out of the room. Don't let anyone touch anything there. We'll be with you right away. Goodbye.
Now, what was that, pal? What was that?
I was talking to Miss Marion Blaine.
Marion?
Blaine?
She's just found her father murdered.
Her father?
In the same room with his secretary, Weldon. He's an apparent suicide.
If you've been shopping recently in chain stores, department stores, hardware stores, or any other store selling chinaware and glass, you undoubtedly have seen Jadeite, the beautiful new kind of dinnerware developed by Anchor Hocking. Jadeite, spelled Jadeite, Jadeite. As its name implies, it's jade green in color and has the lovely texture of fine old Chinese porcelain. But its appearance is deceptive, for Jadeite is as sturdy and heat-proof as the Fire King oven glass you use for baking. And here's the most amazing fact of all. Jadeite costs less than half as much as any other dinnerware you can buy. For instance, a Jadeite cup and saucer costs only 15 cents. So why not add new interest to your dinner table by getting a Jadeite dinner service this weekend? A complete 35-piece service for 6 costs less than $5. Beautiful, heat-proof Jadeite is the newest triumph of Anchor Hocking. The most famous name in glass.
Yes, Miss Blaine, tell me what happened.
When I came down to breakfast, Captain, I found Andrews, our butler, very worried. You tell him, Andrews?
Yes, Miss Blaine. I had discovered that neither Mr. Blaine or Mr. Weldon had occupied their bedrooms last night, Captain. And one of the maids reported that the door of Mr. Blaine's study was locked from the inside, and that no one answered her knock.
I told Andrews to force the lock. When he did, we saw Father and Mr. Weldon.
Allow me, Miss Blaine. Everything was exactly as you found it on your arrival, Captain.
Now, let's go back into that study, Casey, and hear what the M.E. has to say.
Yeah. You better stay here with Miss Blaine, Annie.
Yeah, okay.
What's the word, Doc?
It looks like murder and suicide, Captain. Blaine was shot twice in the chest from a distance. Weldon has a single bullet through the temple. The gun muzzle was held only a few inches away.
What time did the two guys die?
At about 2 o'clock this morning.
The rest of the house is asleep upstairs. These walls are thick. The shots wouldn't be heard.
Doc.
Yes, Casey?
Did you examine Blaine's face?
Thoroughly. No plastic surgery was performed on the man. There isn't the slightest indication of it.
Huh.
Another of your big ideas gone haywire, pal.
And how?
Now, why should Weldon kill his boss and then do a harry-carry?
Well, that's for you cops to figure out. I haven't even a haywire idea.
What have the cops figured out about that murder and suicide, Casey?
Now, that Secretary Weldon had banked a lot of dough, Ethelbert, over $100,000 during the time that Blaine was in Von Telberg's private hospital.
Apparently, Blaine got wise that Weldon had been robbing him and accused him of it. And then Weldon got desperate and shot Blaine and, well, then himself.
That's the way it looks.
You mean you don't believe it's the way it looks?
Oh, I don't know, pal. I'm trying hard not to get another big idea that'll go haywire. But Miss Williams and I got a report on the autopsy a little while ago, and, well, it just doesn't add up right.
What do you mean?
Well, the autopsy revealed that Blaine was organically sound. There wasn't even a trace of the disease that was killing him before he went to Von Telberg's.
Oh, then the guy really performed a miracle on him.
That's the way it looks.
Oh, again, huh?
Yeah.
What are you going to do about it?
Why? As newspaper stiffs, we'll report the findings. They'll be published. And poor sick souls from all over the world will flock to Von Telberg and beg him to take their dough. And I'll tell you right now, Ethelbert, when I see that happen, I'm going to quit the newspaper business.
And so am I. Come on, Casey, let's get out of here.
Well, why get out of here? You ain't sore at me, are you?
Oh, no, of course not, Ethelbert. We're simply going to cheer ourselves up by going to the undertaker's.
By going to... Huh?
Foster Blaine's body has been turned over to the embalmers. It'll be laid out in one of their rooms tonight. Well, we figured...
Marion Blaine will be there. Won't be easy for her to take. She's been nice to us, and she trusts us, so...
Maybe it'll help her if we're around, you know. Well, so long, pal.
Good night.
Night. Such places they go to. Undertakers. Ooh.
I'm very glad you came here, Anne, and you, Mr. Casey.
I'm glad we're welcome, Marion.
Yes.
They made Father look very natural, didn't they? I just don't know how I could have ever doubted he was my father.
Wait a minute.
What, Casey?
I just noticed something that... Miss Blaine, your father was almost bald in front. He had only a thin line of hair on his forehead that he brushed back in an attempt to cover his bald spot.
Why, yes, they're brushed that way now.
Yeah, but these few brushed back hairs don't cover a bald spot.
Of course they do.
Well, they don't. There's a thick stubble there.
This spot has been kept shaved.
Von Telberg found a man so like your father he could be mistaken for him, Miss Blaine, if he was as bald as your father was.
Oh, no, I won't believe
The
it.
cops will when I show them this. I'm going to phone Logan right away.
Wait.
What? What's the matter?
If the man in this coffin was an imposter, Von Telberg is responsible. Von Telberg killed my real father.
I'm afraid so.
Then Dr. Von Telberg owes me a life for a life.
The cops will make him pay.
Oh, no. I'll make him pay.
Huh?
And you won't stop me.
You carry a gun, I see.
I've always carried it for my own protection. But now it'll be used for something else.
Well, why point it at us?
I'm not going to let anyone interfere with what I mean to do. My car's in front of this place. Anne, you'll drive. And Mr. Casey will sit with you. If you follow directions, you'll be in no danger. Come on. We're going to call on Von Telberg. There's his house, Anne. Stop in front. All right, Marion.
Mind if I tell you again, Marion? That you're acting very foolishly.
I tell you again, Mr. Casey, that I'm the best judge of that. Now, get out. I'll be holding this gun under my coat. Oh, I hate to threaten you two this way. You know I don't want to harm you, but I'm determined to make that man tell me what he did with my father. And then, after I've paid him, you can turn me over to the police. Ring that doorbell, Anne. All right. He lives alone here, so he'll answer the bell. Follow my lead, and no warnings.
You're the boss, lady.
Casey, what?
Miss Blaine.
Good evening, Doctor.
And Miss Williams and Mr. Casey. This is most unexpected.
Are you alone?
Yes.
We'd like to come in.
Of course.
Ladies first. Annie, Miss Blaine.
Thank you.
Habits are hard to break, aren't they, Miss Blaine? You shouldn't have acted the lady and let me get behind you.
You've got her gun, Casey.
Yes, I've got her gun. Close the door, Annie.
Yeah.
What is the meaning of this?
That's something you two murderers are going to tell us.
Two murderers?
Yes, Anne. Marion Blaine is number one, and this guy is only a stooge.
You're mad.
Oh, no. I had time to do a whole lot of thinking during our trip out here, Miss Blaine. I have a hunch Von Telberg will straighten out everything when he realizes you came here to kill him.
That's a lie, Doctor.
Listen, Von Telberg. She knew we discovered that the dead Foster Blaine was a phony. So she brought us here at the point of a gun. Now, why do you think she did that?
But I do not know.
Well, can't you figure it? The phony Foster Blaine was apparently murdered by a guy who apparently committed suicide. If Miss Williams and I were found shot to death in your house and you were an apparent suicide,
I see.
No, Doctor. I swear.
So I, too, was to be destroyed, Miss Blaine.
Don't talk, you fool. Don't.
Yeah, I talk. To save myself. And to pay you.
Doctor!
I am no murderer. The worst I did was to put a living man in the place of a dying man no one could save. And it was your idea, Miss Blaine. You supplied the substitute in your father's twin brother.
Twin brother?
You may as well take it from there, Miss Blaine.
Yes, I may as well. Nobody but Father and I knew he had a twin because his twin ran off with my mother when I was a child. He hated me because I was the one person who knew about his disgrace and because I was like my mother. He hated me so much that in his will he left me only the legal minimum. Well, he taught me to hate, too. So when I learned the whereabouts of his twin brother...
You cooked up a big idea with the help of Weldon and Von Telberg.
Yes. Father died, and his twin brother, George, took his place. George had promised to change Father's will in my favor.
Yeah, but when he found himself in the driver's seat, he didn't do it. You had to force his hand by getting Miss Williams and me to the house, where she knew he'd be listening. And she hinted about exposing him. He made the will in your favor the next day, didn't he, Miss Blaine?
Yes.
Well, how did you make it look as though Weldon had killed him and then committed suicide?
That was very easy. Weldon was in love with me.
After you shot your father's twin, you...
I kissed Weldon as I put the gun against his head.
Oh, no.
Why not? My father gave me nothing but hatred for no fault of mine. Why should a woman return to men better than she receives?
Annie, phone for the cops.
We'll join the crowd at the Blue Note in just a moment. This year, America, the land of plenty, is sharing with the world one of the most serious food crises in history. If it were not for the Food Packers of America in convention this week at Atlantic City, this crisis would be far greater than it is. For the Food Packers of America take each food crop as it ripens and becomes ready for market, products of field and orchard and stream, and preserve them for your use throughout the year. If it were not for the magnificent efficiency of our food packers, much of the food produced in America would be wasted and would never reach the market. As it is, even in this year of food shortages, it is possible for you to enjoy varied and healthful meals throughout the year. Anchor Hocking is proud to be associated with the Food Packers of America and to be privileged to supply so many of the glass containers and easy-to-open caps which bring you the better brands of food. Anchor glass containers and tamper-proof Anchor caps are products of Anchor Hocking, the most famous name in glass.
Gee, I hope I never meet up with a gal like that Marion Blaine, Casey.
Well, it's an experience I don't want again, Ethelbert.
Make that a double.
How's that Dr. Von Telberg going to stand when the trial comes on?
Well, he won't go on trial as a doctor, Ethelbert. He's admitted his credentials were stolen from a real doctor who died in a German prison camp where this egg, whose real name, I think, is something like Fritz Pumpernickel, was just a hospital orderly.
Gee, the things that happen after wars.
Yeah.
Casey, the room where Blaine and Weldon were shot was locked from inside. How?
A pair of eyebrow tweezers can be used to turn the key of an old-fashioned lock through the keyhole, pal.
Oh.
Don't get any ideas.
Yeah, it's clever, that, Miss Blaine.
Yeah.
I guess there's such a thing as being too clever.
Yeah?
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Say, this conversation is getting dull, isn't it?
Crime Photographer, starring Stotts Cotsworth as Casey, is brought to you each Thursday by the Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation, makers of Fire King Oven Glass, Anchor Glass Containers, Anchor Caps and Closures. All products of Anchor Hocking, the most famous name in glass. Is directed by John Deeks. The original music is by Archie Blyer, and the program features Miss Jan Miner as Anne and John Gibson as Ethelbert. Herman Chittison is the Blue Note pianist. This is Tony Marvin saying goodnight for the Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation of Lancaster, Ohio, with offices in all principal cities of the United States and Canada. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System. The Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation brings you Crime Photographer.
Hi, Ethelbert. What are you reading?
Kind of information test in the paper. It says, what do these four names stand for? John L. Sullivan, John J. McGraw, Todd Sloan, Barney Oldfield.
Easy. Boxing, baseball, racing, auto racing.
Say, you got them fast.
Yeah, it's a cinch. They're among the most famous names in their line. Everybody knows those names.
Why, certainly, like everyone knows that Anchor Hocking is the most famous name in glass. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Tony Marvin. Every week at this time, the Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation of Lancaster, Ohio, and its more than 10,000 employees bring you another adventure of Casey, crime photographer, ace cameraman who covers the crime news of a great city. Written by Alonzo Dean Cole, our adventure for tonight, Ex-Convict. Morning. A highway leading from the city to its suburbs. At an intersection stands a hitchhiker dressed in new but strangely ill-fitting clothes. A battered-looking car slows down, and as it does so...
Hop in, Bud. Thanks. Where are you heading for?
Argentale?
Ah, you're in luck. You're passing right through there. That's swell, mister. Casey's the name. Mine's Holden. Where are you going at Ardendale?
Brinsley Road.
The Maddox Estates?
How'd you know?
I just guessed. How long you been
Out.
out of the big house?
Now, look here, if you're going to be...
Wait a minute. Don't get sore.
You a cop?
The sign on the windshield tells you my racket.
Press.
Mm-hmm. One of them wise guy reporters.
No. Just a dumb photographer.
You remember my case? You took pictures of me when I was wrapped.
Nope. Never saw you before. When a guy wearing a prison-issue suit is heading for Asa Maddox, the ex-con can't get an honest job anywhere else. He's always sent to old man Maddox. What were you in for, Bud?
Armed robbery?
First conviction?
Yeah. 5 years. I had it come to me, though.
Oh, you feel that way about it?
Yeah. I'm not going to have it come to me again.
What'd you say your name was, pal?
Holden. Ben Holden.
Well, who sent you to Maddox, Ben? Welfare Foundation?
Yeah. I guess this Maddox is a pretty swell guy.
You bet. Aces, from what I hear. I never met him, though. He's given a lot of guys that have been in jams fresh starts. Most of them are made good, some in a big way.
At the foundation, they said a couple of rats had crossed and plenty.
That's right. Been 2 cases during the past year.
Guys he'd helped went out and pulled jobs while they were living on his estate.
That's right.
Nice character.
Yeah, I think so, too.
What do you know about it? You never come out of stir without a friend? Finally, to have a decent guy offer you a break? Anyone who rats on a decent guy like that should have his heart cut out.
No, I'd say you meant that. Ben, I think Mr. Maddox is hiring a pretty good boy. Photography department, Casey speaking.
City desk, Casey.
Yeah, Burke, yeah.
Report just came in of a payroll holdup at the Hannigan Mills.
Huh?
$30,000 taken by a lone bandit.
Hey, that's a nice haul. You want me to get out to the Hannigan Mills plant, of course?
No. Beat it down to headquarters. The paymaster, whose name is Whalen, has been taken down to headquarters to go over pictures in the criminal files. And if he makes an identification,
Casey, here's that picture the paymaster identified. It's Ben Holden.
Ben Holden?
Discharged from Woolstick Prison a month ago. I put out his description in all radio cars and precinct stations. We'll soon pick him up.
Ben Holden.
Calling all cars, all precinct stations. Discontinue search for Hannigan Mills robber Ben Holden. Discontinue search for Ben Holden. He has just been identified as hit-and-run victim of unknown car. Ben Holden is dead.
Hey, Joe, them guests at the end of the bar want 3 more bottles of beer. Now, getting back to where we was, Casey.
Yeah?
Where'd they find this stick-up guy, Holden?
On Beechnut Road, Edward.
A car had run over his chest and kept on going.
Gee, this morning he lifts $30,000 at the point of a gun, and this afternoon he's in the morgue. That's justice the way she ought to be.
I'm not so sure of it.
Why?
Well, Casey gave this Holden a lift in his car about 3 weeks ago and convinced himself that Holden was a reformed character.
And that kid was on the level when he talked to me. I can't see him doing
He's been positively identified. And the $100 bills found in his body had the serial numbers of bills noted by the bank that made up the payroll.
But the total wad found on Holden's body amounted to less than $600, Annie. Now, what happened to the balance of that $30,000?
Well, he hid it somewhere, of course.
He had plenty of time after the robbery, Casey.
Sure, there was time enough.
Well?
Annie, 2 other ex-cons who got a break from Maddox have gone sour during the past year.
And how? And if Maddox is smart, he'll give criminal reform up as a bad job.
Wait a minute. Those 2 other ex-cons weren't captured alive either. Both of them were found dead, just like Ben Holden.
Well, so what? One was shot by the cops when he tried to get away, and the other committed suicide when it looked like he was going to be captured.
Very little of the dough that those guys stole was found on their bodies.
Well, they...
Sure. They'd hidden it somewhere, just like Holden.
Yeah. It is a little funny.
Say it is, so to speak, Casey. It's a peculiar coincidence.
Yeah. Say, Annie, let's you and me go down to Homicide Bureau and have a talk with Logan. I got a hunch.
Casey, I'm afraid I'm buying this hunch of yours.
Well, that's something from you, Hogan.
You mean, Captain, that you don't think Ben Holden committed that payroll robbery either?
On the evidence, he must have committed it, Miss Williams. I want to know why. I've looked up Holden's record. He was a model prisoner, and the prison authorities were very favorably impressed with his good intentions when he was discharged. Now, what made him go sour?
Yeah, that's what's got me going down. You looked up the records of the other two guys who went sour after they got a break from Maddox?
No, not yet. Have you?
Uh-huh, yeah. On paper, they seem pretty good Joes, until after they got a job for Maddox.
Now, Casey, you're not implying that Asa
I'm
Maddox...
merely implying there's been a 3-time coincidence, Annie.
But Mr. Maddox is... Well, he's a first citizen. He's helped hundreds of ex-convicts who've made good.
The coincidence still remains, Miss Williams. 3 of his protégés have gone bad. They were killed, and only a small fraction of their hold-up loot was recovered. Now, maybe that's merely a coincidence, but... Al, I'm going to plant an undercover man at Maddox's place.
One of your headquarters dicks?
Who else?
Oh, Logan, wait a minute. He wouldn't get to first base. Outside of Maddox himself, every guy in that big estate is an ex-con. Those babies recognize cops like you do.
Well, naturally detail the guy who was unknown to anyone there.
They'll get wise to him.
Of course, you have a better idea than mine.
Sure. Let me be the undercover guy.
You?
Oh, that's it.
Oh, Casey, you'd never get away with it either.
Maddox doesn't know me. I've never run into any of his present staff of ex-cons. And I know a lot about the inside of prison. Remember, I once took a phony rap in order to get the goods on a certain guy.
And in order to get an exclusive for your lousy paper. But, of course, you're not thinking of anything like that now.
Certainly not. I offer my services purely and nobly in the cause of justice.
Nuts.
Of course, if I do get an exclusive, the Express gives me a raise for getting it. Well, look, you want to see me get along, don't you, pal?
Yeah, but I'm not saying where to.
Oh, come on. Break down, tough guy. Give me a go-ahead.
Well, because of your talent for being lucky, compensate your shortage of intelligence. Okay.
Thanks, and not only for your kind words.
You're going to Maddox as an ex-convict, Casey?
Why, sure.
You'll have to appear as recently discharged from an out-of-state prison, one that none of the real ex-cons at Maddox's place have been in.
Sure, we'll check up on their records.
And we'll make a very thorough checkup. Also, when we pick your prison alma mater, you'll be well coached on what goes on there.
Well, I learn quickly.
Well, the only men Maddox helps are those sent to him with recommendations by the Welfare Foundation. Will they cooperate with you, Captain?
100%, Miss Williams.
It'll take only a short time to work the bugs out of our scheme. Then I'll start for Mr. Asa Maddox's place.
Morning.
I'd like to see Mr. Maddox.
Who are you?
Who are you?
My name is Eggles, punk. Mr. Maddox's butler.
Yeah? Thought all butlers had English accents.
So you got your education from the movies.
Tough guy, huh?
No, at least not anymore. If you are, punk, you come to the wrong joint. What's your name?
Stacy.
Huh?
Dan Stacy. Foundation Center.
Well, why didn't you say so right away? Come on in, Stacy. The boss is expecting you.
Ah, thanks, Mr.
Eggles. Plain Eggles.
Eggles.
Hey, just get out of the Stillwater pen, huh?
Yeah.
I'm a graduated Danamora.
Yeah, that's a real tough one, I guess.
Yeah, it softened me up. If that ain't happened to you, you don't belong here.
No?
No. Mr. Maddox is a grand guy. He's going to give you a job here. Oh, he's had some disappointments lately. 3 of them. You show signs of being a disappointment, pal. You're going to wish you never left Stillwater.
Well, that's the way it is, huh?
That's the way it is. Not only with me, but there's a few other ex-cons here who feel the same. Come on, Stacy. I'll take you into Mr. Maddox.
You know, few of us wear the same clothes every day, and yet millions of families have breakfast, lunch, and dinner week after week, month after month from the same plates and dishes and platters. So why not make your meals more interesting and appetizing by changing your tableware? Now, you can now do it today at an almost ridiculously low price. Anchor Hocking has developed a brand new kind of dinnerware called Jadeite, spelled Jadeite, Jadeite. And Jadeite's delicate jade green color harmonizes with any table decoration. But Jadeite's beauty is the subject for 2 reasons. 1, Jadeite is heat-proof. Yes, as heat-proof as the Fire King oven glass you use for baking. And second, a complete 35-piece Jadeite dinner service for 6 costs less than $5, including 6 cups, 6 saucers, 6 dessert plates, 6 salad plates, 6 dinner plates, a vegetable bowl, a platter, and a sugar and creamer set. Now, you'll also find Jadeite in open stock at chain stores, department stores, hardware stores, and all other stores selling chinaware and glass. Jadeite is the newest triumph of anchor hocking. The most famous name in glass.
The Welfare Foundation has recommended you very highly, Mr. Stacy, so I'm putting you to work here.
Thanks, Mr. Maddox.
Your job will be a small one at first, but you'll find every opportunity for advancement.
I hope I can make good, sir.
Oh, I'm sure you will.
You know the swell start I've made. I'm just out of prison.
I might have been in prison had I not been lucky, Mr. Stacy. The difference between you and me has been only a matter of circumstance.
That's the way you figure.
Yes. Let's see. I made a pencil note of the employment I meant to give you. Dear, I'm so absent-minded. What did I do with it? Shirley.
Yes, Mr. Maddox?
What did I do with that note I made about... please excuse me. Miss Reed, allow me to that, Mr. Stacy.
Reed?
Miss Reed is my private secretary. Also, she's the daughter of an old and very dear friend of mine. Shirley, where is
Here
that...
it is, Mr. Maddox. Mr. Stacy is to work in the garage as assistant to Butch Franzen.
Oh, yes. Butch Franzen is my chief chauffeur, Mr. Stacy. Shirley, will you take my new friend Stacy to my old friend Butch and introduce them?
Gladly, Mr. Maddox. Will you come with me, Mr. Stacy?
Gladly, Miss Reed. Maddox, it's been a privilege to meet you.
Well, mine is the privilege, my boy. Good luck.
Thank you, sir. Quite a guy.
Yes, all of us here think so. You're from Stillwater, Mr. Stacy.
Yeah, Minnesota.
They treat you well out there?
Not too bad.
My father died in Joliet.
Yeah?
Mr. Maddox is only our kind around him.
Hey, you haven't...
No, I've never been in prison.
I didn't think so. Not with that face.
You're pretty direct.
Why not?
I haven't an answer to that one. You did your stretch for armed robbery.
Yeah, that's right.
Get much?
$20 in 5 years.
Sucker, weren't you?
And how?
Going to be one again?
No.
Just stick to that. You'll be okay. You won't like washing and greasing cars under Butch Franzen. He's tough.
Oh, I worked with tough guys before.
I can soften him up for you.
I think you could soften almost anyone up, Blondie.
Including yourself?
Go to work on me and see.
Thanks. But Mr. Maddox keeps me pretty busy.
When you have a little time to spare, look me up.
Maybe I will.
Hey, Stacy.
Yeah, here I am, Butch.
Driving the boss into town. While I'm gone, wash and polish the station wagon. And I mean wash and polish.
Okay.
Blue convertible needs a clean-up job, too.
I'll take care of it.
Now get right at it. So long.
So long.
Hi, Butch.
Oh, hello, Eagles.
The Maddox is ready for his car.
All right, I'm taking it to him right now.
Hi, Stacy.
Oh, hi, Eccles. Don't see much of you back here in the garage.
I always get plenty to do at the house. How you like things here, Stacy?
Swell.
Yeah, what you like best is the boss's secretary, ain't it?
What do you mean?
You and Shirley Reed have been seeing quite a bit of each other.
Any rule here says we shouldn't?
No, there ain't no rule, but you can't afford a babe like Shirley in what you're making here.
So what?
So 3 other guys who fell for her went out and pulled jobs that landed them on morgue slabs. This is a friendly tip, chum. Watch your step.
Thanks.
Hey, Stacy, when you was at Stillwater, did you meet up with a guy named Ross Taylor?
What? No.
Well, it's a big pen. I guess there were a lot of guys there you didn't meet.
Yeah, that's right.
Shirley told you about Ben Holden? Guy we had here who pulled that payroll stick-up?
Well, everybody's here. Everybody's told me about him except Mr. Maddox.
You know, Shirley had a little hard luck the day Holden pulled that job and then got accidentally killed. She drove home with a dented front fender.
Dented front fender?
Yeah, she'd run into something with that sporty roadster of hers. A post, she said. Butch fixed the fender for her so it looks like new again. Well, I gotta be getting back to the house. I got a lot of work to do this afternoon. So long.
Yes, so long.
Oh, Stacy, it's funny you didn't meet up with Ross Taylor out at Stillwater. He's the prison doctor.
So long again.
Casey, you think the butler Eggles is wise to him?
He practically told me he is, Logan. But at the same time, he tipped me off about the dented fender. I got outside of this pay station as soon as I could to pass you on the word.
You figure Eggles is playing on our side?
He's playing Maddox's side. Eggles obviously believes that Shirley Reed's car was a hit and run that killed Holden. That she's the works behind those 3 stick-ups. I think Holden and those other two guys, fell for this babe so hard that they were willing to do anything she suggested.
You think that guy, Butch Franzen's in the deal with her?
Well, there's an understanding of some sort between her and Butch, Logan. And he fixed that dented fender, don't forget.
Well, play the two of them along, pal, but watch your step.
Yeah, I'm doing that little thing every minute.
And when or if you've got a suggestion from her about a stick-up, get in touch with me right away. We'll throw a little surprise party.
Yeah. Oh, I gotta get back to the garage now. Polish a couple of cars.
That I'd love to see.
I'll bet you would.
Now, remember, you asked for this job, and it can't be too tough. It's never hard to play romantic with a glamorous blonde, even though you think she's loaded with trouble.
Logan, look, have you told Annie Williams about everything?
I've had 2. You know how interested she is in what you're doing. She's especially interested in the blonde angle, pal.
Play that blonde angle down, will you, pal? Way down.
Good morning, Stacy.
Well, Shirley, that is an unexpected pleasure. I hoped to see you before evening.
You wouldn't have if Mr. Maddox hadn't phoned from town a little while ago. He wants you to do an errand for him.
Okay.
You're to go to this address and pick up a package of jewelry he's ordered for his niece.
What does he want me to pick up jewelry for?
Well, it's his way of showing his trust in you.
I see.
I'm driving into town, Stacy. I'll take you to the place if you like.
I never miss a chance of being with you.
This trip will be strictly for business purposes, big boy.
Oh, just like that, huh?
Definitely. Now, get my car out and let's go.
Well, I have to tell Butch I'm going.
Oh, he already knows. He was in the house when I got Mr. Maddox's message.
Well, then I'll pull out the car. That's a snappy little bus, this sport roadster of yours.
It's getting pretty old. It's a 39.
Looks like it just came out of the factory. Guess you never had any accidents with it.
Oh, I've dented a couple of fenders, that's all.
Recently?
No, not for over a year.
Now, you're lucky. Well, get in. You want to drive or shall I?
I will. I like to drive men. I'll park in front of the side door of the building, Stacy, here.
Yeah.
Now, the man you're to see, Mr. LeBlanc, is a wholesale diamond merchant. His offices are on the 2nd floor.
I see.
Mr. Maddox left this sealed envelope with Eggles before I came to work this morning, and absent-mindedly forgot to tell me anything about it. Here, it's addressed to Mr. LeBlanc, and I imagine it's to identify you, so you'll be given the package.
Just send the note in to LeBlanc, huh?
Mm-hmm, right.
You know, Shirley, a gal like you ought to have some nice jewelry.
When I get it, it's going to be bought and paid for by a man whom I'm certain isn't a crook.
You mean that?
What do you think?
Babe, I wish I knew.
Come on now. Get up to Mr. LeBlanc and hurry back with that package.
Yeah, okay.
2nd floor, remember. And hurry.
Yeah, I will. Yeah. I wish I knew. Mr. Blank, Mr. Maddox sent me.
Close the door, Stacy. I'll get the package for you.
Okay.
It's in my safe. Just one moment while I open it.
Right.
I suppose you're one of Mr. Maddox's ex-convicts, since he doesn't hire anyone else.
Yeah. You're taking a big chance opening that safe when you're alone with the next con, aren't you?
I have a burglar alarm. Here is the package.
Well, you want me to sign for it?
But that's unnecessary. I have Mr. Maddox's note, which amounts to a receipt.
See.
Good day, Stacy.
Hey, so long, Mr. LeBlanc.
Oh, Stacy.
Eggles, what are you doing here?
Here to keep you out of trouble, bud. Come on down these stairs and hurry.
What trouble?
Shirley brought you here, didn't she? She's waiting for you outside.
Yes?
Already tipped you that she's trouble.
But I don't see what...
You will, very soon. Come on, pile into a car there. I'm joining you.
Eggles?
Yeah, I'm giving a surprise party, Shirley. Start this bus and then step on the gas.
Well, why?
Do like I say. Like this gun says.
Eggles.
Keep your shirt on, Stacy. You know whose side I'm on.
Yes, but
Stop the car, Toots, and get moving.
All right.
Turn right at the next corner, then head for River Road.
I'd like an explanation of this.
Yeah, I can stand one, too.
Listen, there's your explanation.
What? The burglar alarm.
From the building we just left.
Yeah, it's in LeBlanc's place. He just set it going.
Why?
Because you just robbed him, Stacy.
What?
That's what he's going to say. Hand over that package he gave you, mister.
I'm beginning to get this setup.
I thought you would.
I don't get
You're
what...
not smart, Shirley. Give me that package, Stacy.
The gun of yours doesn't give me much choice. All right, here. How much is in it?
$100,000. In unset diamonds, that'll be very hard to trace.
LeBlanc collects the insurance on them, and you and he split the diamonds, too.
That's the play.
You had the same deal with the paymaster who accused Holden of robbing him, and with the other holdup that...
Uh-huh. Holden's seen going into that paymaster's office. Then he goes out with a package he's been given for Mr. Maddox. I meet him and take him away. Nobody but me and the paymaster know that Holden's been tricked into going there on a fake errand. It's like I tricked you into giving Stacy a phony letter to LeBlanc, Shirley, that I said was from the boss who just phoned me.
Oh.
Holden never had a chance to explain what really happened because you made him meet with an accident, Eggles.
That's right. Swell little scheme, huh, wise guy?
Well, it was until this LeBlanc job. Now you slipped up plenty.
Yeah, how?
Because I haven't got a record. I've never been a con.
You haven't?
No. The cops aren't going to believe that I robbed LeBlanc, Eggles.
Hey, you're not so bright either, Gumshoe. Why do you think I made you suspect Shirley here?
Suspect me?
He had you figured as a very bad doll, Toots. So, of course, he reported the hints I dropped about you to the cops. They'll think he stuck up LeBlanc at your suggestion. You try to rub him out. Then when they find both you and him dead, Shirley, they'll think you knocked each other off. After you'd managed to hide these diamonds.
You done a pretty good job of figuring, Eggles. But you shouldn't have made me believe that this car of Shirley's had been used in connection with the holdups and murders.
Yeah, what's that got to do with...
This is a gun you feel at the back of your neck, Eggles.
What's going on?
You get him, I'll blow your head off.
Okay, don't shoot.
I got his gun, Lieutenant. Good. All right, stop the car, Shirley.
I am.
So you got a cop hiding in a rumble seat, huh?
That's right. He heard everything you said.
Which is more than enough to burn you 3 times, Eggles.
Thought if I was invited to go places in this car, I'd be more comfortable with a cop back there. So several good guys have been taking turns.
You thought I was behind those holdups and murders. You thought I was a traitor to Mr. Maddox, who's treated me like a daughter.
Well, anybody can make mistakes.
No! Get out of this car.
We want you to drive us and our prisoner to headquarters, miss.
I'll drive you and your prisoner, Lieutenant. But this person, this Stacy, he's going to get out and walk.
We'll join the crowd at the Blue Note in just a moment. You know, in the old days, a rich, steaming cup of coffee meant fuss, bother, and lots of things to be cleaned up afterward. But those days are gone. Gone, because now you can enjoy delicious coffee through the amazing invention of soluble coffee. A spoonful of this new kind of coffee in the cup, hot water, and there you are. Delicious coffee, quick as you can say Anchor Glass. And Anchor Glass helps bring you the convenience of soluble coffee, because 2/3 of the packers of soluble coffee protect their products against harmful moisture by using clean, sanitary Anchor Glass containers and Anchor caps. The cap that comes off with a twist of the wrist and goes on again just as easily to protect the flavor and freshness of the coffee. Yes, today you can enjoy delicious hot coffee in a split second with flavor protected by sanitary Anchor Glass containers. A product of Anchor Hocking. The most famous name in glass.
So, you had a nice long walk, Casey, huh?
Sure did. I couldn't get a cab, Ethelbert. There was a strike on the bus lines. And my feet were darn near frozen by the time I got the express over.
Oh, I'm so sorry for you, Casey.
Well,
And not only because of your poor, tired feet. Beautiful, glamorous Shirley says she'll never speak to you again.
look, Annie, you know very well that my only interest in that gal was...
Of course. You were merely trying to solve a crime. And to get an exclusive for the paper.
Why, of course.
But you had a nice, cozy time investigating that blonde and getting the wrong answers.
Blondes. Wow. Oh, I don't know what there is about them.
I do.
What?
You silly men.
Crime Photographer, starring Stotts Cotsworth as Casey, is brought to you each Thursday by the Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation, makers of Fire King Oven Glass, Anchor Glass Containers, Anchor Caps and Closures, all products of Anchor Hocking, the most famous name in glass. Crime Photographer is directed by John Dietz and is based on the fictional character of Casey, created by George Harmon Cox. Original music is by Archie Blyer, and the program features Miss Jan Miner as Ann and John Gibson as Ethelbert. Herman Chittison is the Blue Note pianist. If you'd like to serve with America's foremost military organization and yet remain at home as a civilian, sign up as a citizen Marine with the Organized Marine Corps Reserve. Inquire at your local Marine Corps recruiting office today. This is Tony Marvin saying goodnight for the Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation of Lancaster, Ohio, with offices in all principal cities of the United States and Canada. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System. The Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation brings you Crime Photographer.
Hiya, Casey.
Hi, Ethelbert. What's new?
Did you read here what the president of the Columbia Broadcasting System says? He says one of these days we'll have radio sets so small you can wear them on your wrist.
Oh, that'll be wonderful.
Yeah, you can always have a radio with you.
Oh, man, that'll be wonderful.
You seem quite excited about this new wristwatch radio, Tony.
Well, why shouldn't I be? It's wonderful. Then every Thursday, everybody will know the right time to hear me say, Anchor Hocking is the most famous name in glass. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Tony Marvin. Every week at this time, the Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation of Lancaster, Ohio, and its more than 10,000 employees bring you another adventure of Casey, crime photographer, ace cameraman who covers the crime news of a great city. Written by Alonzo Dean Cole, our adventure for tonight, the Piggy Bank Robbery. 8:15 in the morning. An elevator in the towering Express building stops at an upper floor and discharges a sleepy-eyed Casey. Heavy-footed, he walks across the corridor and wearily opens a glass-paneled door labeled Photography Department.
Hi, Casey.
Hello, Jim.
Your car break down on the way here, or have you simply decided to keep bankers hours?
What do you mean?
Hasn't anyone ever told you that we button pushers are supposed to punch the clock at 8 a.m. sharp when we're on morning shift?
Oh, nuts to you.
Okay, pal.
I never can wake up in time for this morning trick.
City desk been looking for me?
No, but Bill Shapiro has.
Oh, what does Cubby want?
He came in all excited this morning. Something very mysterious has happened to him.
What happened?
Well, sometime during the night... there he is. He'll tell you himself.
Casey!
Oh, Bill.
I've been up the city room looking for you. Thought you might have gone there before coming here.
You didn't tell the desk I hadn't shown up here, I hope.
Certainly not. What do you think I am?
Okay, I'm only kidding, pal. Jim tells me Something happened to you last night.
It was the darndest thing, Casey.
Oh, sit down, Bill. Spill your story.
You're not going to yawn when you hear it. This is something right up your alley.
At this time of day, my alley is strictly...
Well, of course, if you don't want to be bothered.
Oh, wait a minute. Excuse me. I don't mean to be a sleepy lug, Bill. Naturally, I'm interested in whatever happened to you. Go ahead, shoot.
Casey, you know my wife and me have a 16-month-old kid.
Uh-huh.
Well, when I got up to come to work this morning, naturally, the first thing I do is to go into the living room to look at Julius where he sleeps.
Naturally.
What do you think I see besides Julius?
What?
Someone's been in our living room during the night. They jimmied the door and searched the place.
Well, they didn't hurt the kid, did they?
They didn't even wake him. And we couldn't see that anything was missing at first. The wife's gold wristwatch was laying out in plain sight, and so was $15. But the burglar hadn't touched him. What do you think was the one and only thing he took, Casey?
Well, you tell me.
Little Julius's piggy bank.
Piggy bank? Much dough in it?
Not over $1 in small change.
Your burglar was either a goof or some kid.
Wait a minute. Been around enough to know the kind of jobs house prowlers do, and our job was opened by an expert. Casey, I got an idea why that piggy bank was stolen.
Huh? Why? What is it?
This was a brand new piggy bank because Julius busted his old one yesterday morning.
So?
You see, Julius likes his piggy bank like some kids like a certain doll.
Uh-huh.
He always wants it with him when the wife takes him out in his carriage. And sometimes people who stop to look at him drop a couple of pennies in it. Well, someone dropped something else in that bank of his. The one that he busted.
What?
Now, this is something I ain't told anybody else, Casey, because if there's a big story in it, you're the guy who can get it, and I want you to have it.
Thanks.
You've been awful nice to me since I've been working here.
You're not a hard guy to be nice to, Bill. Well, what did somebody drop in the kid's bank?
This.
It looks like a pass key.
Uh-huh. Somebody who stopped to admire the kid must have stuck it in there. Now, I think it was some crook who had to get rid of it in a hurry, and last night he came to get it back. But he didn't know, of course, that the bank he took wasn't the same one he put the key in.
Your wife didn't remember anybody dropping the key in. Oh.
No. What do you think, Casey?
Well, this may be just an old key to nothing at all that some chiseler dropped in the bank, like some guys drop slugs in the collection baskets at church.
But it might be the key to a place where stolen dough is hid. Or jewels.
If this was a key to a safety deposit box, I think you might have an idea, but it isn't. This is just an ordinary flat cylinder locked door key, that's all.
My idea's all wet, huh?
Well, it's pretty far-fetched, you know, Bill. Of course, you reported the burglary to the cops, huh?
Yeah.
What'd they say?
Well, what you said, that only a goof or a kid would steal a baby's piggy bank and nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't tell them about the key. You keep this key and think about it, Casey. I still got a notion there's a mystery in it and a story.
Okay, Bill. I'll just stick it in my desk drawer and do some thinking about it.
Yes, I will.
When I wake up, if you don't mind, I'm going to grab myself a nap.
Sure.
Uh-oh, nice. Photography department, Casey speaking. Oh, hello, Burke. Yeah, go ahead, shoot.
City desk.
Wharf Street, under Pier 30. All right, I got it. Well, who's Manny Armstrong? Oh, sure, yeah, I remember now. Listen, tell Annie Williams I'll meet her downstairs in the lobby. We'll get right down there. Goodbye.
Well, what is it, Casey?
That's the end of my nap. Manny Armstrong, the counterfeiter, has been found murdered.
Counterfeiter?
Yeah, one of the smoothest, too. He nearly drove the Treasury Department nuts before they nailed him. That was around 10 years ago. I'd almost forgotten the guy's name. Where's my hat?
There, on your head.
What? Oh, thanks, yeah. Well, I'll see you later, Bill.
Don't forget to think about that key, Casey.
Key? What key? Oh, yeah, sure, yeah. I'll think about it, kid. So long.
Hey, Walter, go down cellar and bring up some more sweet vermouth. We only got one bottle left the back of this bar here.
And bring up some more lemons.
Yeah, and some... Huh? Where did you two blow at? Never mind them lemons, Walter.
Just now.
Oh, boy, do we feel beat up.
You can say that again. We've stuck on an assignment for 12 solid hours, Ethelbert.
What assignment, Miss Williams?
The Manny Armstrong murder.
I read about that in the evening papers. He's the old counterfeiter who was just freed from prison.
Yeah, well, he didn't enjoy much freedom. He
He gets into this town yesterday morning after being sprung from the federal pen at Lewisburg, and this morning he's found dead under a barge pier.
Beaten to death, the papers said.
Not just beaten, Ethelbert. He was deliberately tortured.
Yeah, well, that side of the murder's off the record. The cops don't want it known yet, Ethelbert, so...
Of course, I won't say anything. Any clues as to who done it, Casey? Off the record?
Well, only one.
Yeah?
Marks on his face and head indicate that the guy who beat him wore a heavy signet ring with a big, sharp-cornered letter E on it.
That sounds like a hot clue.
Well, that's what made us stick with the case so many hours, but it hasn't led us anywhere so far.
Thank goodness we'll get time off tomorrow for those extra hours, Casey. I'll use them all as sleeping.
Me too, Annie. Hey, Ethelbert, have some coffee brought here to the bar for us, will you, pal?
Sure. Hey, Walt! Oh, Walter, have some coffee brought for Miss Williams and Casey. And take back them lemons. To get back to the subject, didn't this Manny Armstrong have some known enemies who might
For a crook, he had very few enemies, pal. Anyway, the torture angle indicates that the killer was trying to make Armstrong cough up information.
And the cops have another angle on that. The Treasury Department got a conviction against Armstrong 10 years ago for making and passing $5 and $10 bills that were good enough to fool anyone but experts. They weren't able to find the plates he made them with. Those engraved plates would be worth plenty to another crook who wanted to go into the counterfeiting racket.
So the killer may have tried to make Armstrong tell where they was hid, huh?
That's the idea.
You think he did tell?
It's doubtful if he was able to tell.
Why?
You see, during his last 5 years in prison, Armstrong was a very sick guy. He almost completely lost his memory. Prison doctors are convinced that Armstrong doesn't know where he hid those plates or recall much of anything else that he did before his sickness began.
Which seems to explain why he was beaten to death, Ethelbert.
Yeah, he couldn't tell.
Yeah, that's right. Say, where's that coffee?
Hey, Walter, where's... Excuse me, there's the bar phone. Blue Note Cafe, Ethelbert speaking. Yeah, just a minute. For you, Casey,
What?
Your city debt.
City debt?
Oh, we're not on duty.
And we're not going to be. Give me that phone. Hello, Casey speak. Oh, there's an assignment you think I'd like to cover, huh? After I just put in 12 hours in a job. What do you think I am, anyway? Wait a minute. Say that again. I'll go up there right away. Thanks a million. Thanks for handing this to me, boss.
This guy's sick, Miss Williams.
What is it, Casey?
Bill Shapiro has just been taken to the hospital. He may die.
Bill Shapiro?
The cub photographer you like?
That's right, yeah.
He was in here just this morning telling me about his apartment being robbed of a piggy bank.
Tonight, he's been almost beaten to death. His wife's badly hurt, too.
But why?
Come on, Annie. We're going to find out why.
Say, tell me, did you ever take a magnificent roast, steaming hot from the oven, and put it on a platter? And suddenly, bingo, the platter cracks. Well, that simply can't happen with Jadeite, the amazing new dinnerware developed by Anchor Hocking. You see, Jadeite is as heat-proof as the Fire King oven glass you use for baking, and yet it has the delicate beauty of rare old Chinese porcelain. And Jadeite prices are incredibly low. For example, a cup and saucer in open stock cost only 15 cents. And a complete 35-piece Jadeite dinner service for $6 costs less than $5. So ask for beautiful jade green Jadeite dinnerware at chain stores, department stores, hardware stores, and all other stores selling chinaware and glass. Remember the name, Jadeite, spelled Jadeite. Jadeite, the newest triumph of Anchor Hocking. The most famous name in glass.
You're on the job here, Logan. I guess it means Shapiro is a homicide case.
Fortunately, it doesn't, Casey. I just got word from the hospital that your friend's going to be okay.
Oh, yeah?
I'm so glad, Captain.
Me, too. How about his wife and his baby?
Yeah, the baby wasn't hurt at all. Mrs. Shapiro is hit in the head and KO'd, but right now she's suffering from nothing worse than shock and hysteria. She's been taken to the hospital, too.
Well, what happened in this apartment?
Well, Mrs. Shapiro said that about 6:30, just as she and her husband were about to have dinner, she answered a knock at the door, and when she opened it, saw a man there, and Well, that's the last she remembered.
The man knocked her unconscious then.
Yeah. And when she regained consciousness, she found her husband lying on the kitchen floor. Dead, she thought, so I got a homicide report when she phoned headquarters.
Was she able to describe the guy who hit her, Logan?
No, he worked too fast. And her husband won't be able to tell us anything for at least a week.
Of course, she told you about the burglary here last night.
Yeah. Oh, you know about that piggy bank thing, eh?
Yeah, Bill told me this morning. You think there's any connection there?
I've been trying to figure one, Casey, but the parts don't fit. Anyone who prowls an apartment and steals nothing but a kid's penny bank isn't the sort of crook who comes back later and nearly kills a guy.
Yeah, that's the way it seems to me, too.
But I have found a connection with something else that's red hot.
Yeah?
What?
Now, strictly off the record. Whoever beat up Shapiro wore a signet ring with a big, sharp initial E.
Casey.
You found the same marks on Bill as you found on Manny Armstrong?
Mm-hmm. And the beating Shapiro got was like the one Armstrong took. Blows to the head and face, only Shapiro lived through it.
Yeah, but...
What connection can Bill Shapiro, just a cub reporter, have with Armstrong?
That's what I want to ask you with Casey, Miss Williams. You especially, pal. You know Shapiro.
Well, he couldn't have any connection with Armstrong. He was only a kid when Armstrong went to jail 10 years ago. Now, wait a minute. What did Mrs. Shapiro tell you about that piggy bank robbery?
Only that the bank was stolen.
Did she mention anything about a key?
Key? What key?
Maybe the key to the Shapiro-Armstrong connection. Pal, I'm going back to the office. Where can I reach you in half an hour?
Hey, what is it?
Yeah, that's what I'd like to know.
I got a notion. Or rather, Bill Shapiro had one that may pay off. I don't want to talk about it until I do some thinking that I promised Bill I'd do before.
Then maybe you know what you're talking about. I don't.
Where can I reach you in half an hour?
I'll be back at headquarters.
All right, I'll phone you there. Come on, let's get to the office, Annie.
Oh, okay, but lady in the dark had nothing on me.
Well, I'll enlighten you on the way, Annie. Come on. I tossed it in a drawer of my desk this morning. Here it is. Here it is.
It's just an ordinary flat pass key.
Maybe it isn't ordinary. Wait a minute. Let's try this magnifying glass.
Why?
I got a hunch.
Well, through the magnifying glass, it's still an ordinary flat pass key.
Look at the other side.
Still nothing out of the ordinary.
No.
Well, there goes the hunch.
I guess so. Nuts. You see, Armstrong was an engraver, and I figured he might have engraved something on his key so fine it couldn't be seen with the naked eye. Something maybe about the location of those counterfeit plates that he hid away before his memory went haywire. Well, I'm used to being wrong.
You gave Captain Logan a big build-up about this. You better tell him to forget it.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Now, what now?
I just noticed something different about this key Bill Shapiro gave me. This isn't a key turned out by one of the big lock companies. This is a duplicate.
So what?
The locksmiths who make duplicate keys often stamp their names on the blanks they use, but I've never known of one of them who stamps on the original number, Annie. This key I got from Bill Shapiro has a name and an identifying number on it.
Ludwig Marius. And the number's 12138.
Hey, wait a minute. That isn't a true identification number. Manufacturers use serial letters to avoid running their numbers up into the millions. This key has no letters on it.
Well, what do you think?
Well, this 12138 must be a code of some kind. And the name... Wait a minute. Let me look at this phone book.
Yeah.
Armstrong spent most of his life in this town. He was arrested here. He must have hidden those plates here. Marius is an uncommon name. Let's see. There's only one listed in the book, Annie. And he's listed as Edward Marius, DDS. He's a dentist, not a locksmith.
But the name on the key isn't Edward Marius. It's Ludwig
I know,
Marius.
That's so. The name's so unusual. They must be relatives. Annie, that signet ring. Some people put their first initial on jewelry instead of their last, and Edward begins with an E.
Well, so does Emily and Ethel and Ermintrude.
I know. All right, anyway, let's take this key to Logan instead of phoning him. You'll get a code expert in who will give us the lowdown.
Okay.
All right, come on. I'll open the door.
Okay. Oh.
Excuse me, lady. I was just about to go in when this gentleman decided to let you and himself out.
There's nobody in the photography department now, mister. The guys are all out on assignment.
Now I can see the place is empty, which saves me trouble, Casey.
He's got a gun.
What is this?
Step back into that empty room, both of you, and quick.
Go on, Annie.
Yeah, okay.
Now give me the key.
What key?
The key I've been hearing you talk about from the outside this door. Hand it over.
No.
Yes.
You hit him. Look out.
That's been done. Now you sit.
No.
And just to make sure you stay quiet, I'd put you both out for keeps if it wasn't too dangerous here. Thanks for the key, fella. So long.
All I can tell you about the guy, Logan, is that he was big as an ox.
Yeah, and he was dark and swarthy.
Well, you can identify his picture if it's in our criminal files, can't you?
I doubt.
You know, so do I. His hat was pulled down over his eyes and his overcoat collar was turned up.
Yeah, I can tell you this about him, though. He throws a punch like a mule throws a kick. I'm still groggy.
You know, I don't feel so good either.
You're both lucky you got off as easy as you did. Have you looked in a mirror since you came to and phoned for me, Casey?
Yeah. There's a cut on my jaw that looks like an E.
Yeah. Before this muscle man finished with Shapiro, he obviously made him tell that the key had been given to you.
Sure. So he hung around outside the office here until he saw me come in. Then he listened at the door. It was all set when Ann and I started out.
Was he set?
Say, Casey, go over your theory of this key business again. I want it straight.
Well, now we know that the key connects everything that's happened. Armstrong must have known this guy with the E-ring wanted it. Was after it. He must have been so close that Armstrong had to act fast. He saw a baby on the street sitting in a carriage playing with a piggy bank, so he stopped and admired the kid, dropped the key in the bank. All the time he was conning the mother into telling him her name and where she lived.
He meant to get back the key after he shook the E-ring guy, but he couldn't shake him, and E-ring put the pressure on him under that pier until he spilled the works.
That's it. E-ring goes to Shapiro's after he kills Armstrong, gets the piggy bank, finds the key isn't inside, then goes back to Shapiro's and tortures Bill into telling him that I have it.
You and Miss Williams say you can't remember all the die stamping you found on that key.
Only the name, Ludwig Marius.
In both Casey and I think that the number started with 121, but we can't recall the rest.
Wait a minute. Now that my so-called brain is clearing a bit, I think that name is the gimmick of this thing, Logan.
Yeah?
And I don't think it's a code, because Armstrong could never remember a code. The figures and letters stamped on it mean just what they say.
Well, then, what we do remember is no help. There's no Ludwig Marius listed, only Edward Marius.
My hunch says that he's the works, Logan. I want to meet that guy. And he's not going to slip any more fast punches over when I do.
Casey will play your hunch. Let's call on Edward Marius.
The maid said you people wish to see me. I'm Edward Marius. You?
This isn't the guy who socked me, Logan.
Oh, that man was twice his size.
Pardon me, but I don't understand.
Well, Mr. Marius, I'm Captain Logan of the police.
Police?
This is Miss Williams and Mr. Casey of the Morning Express.
I'm happy to meet you, but I have no business with the newspapers or the police. I'm merely a practicing dentist.
Mr. Marius, you're the only person of your name listed in the phone book or the city directory.
I'm the only Marius in this city that I know of.
Have you ever heard of a Ludwig Marius?
Heard of him? Ludwig Marius was my father.
Huh? Your father?
He died 10 years ago.
Oh, he died?
Yes.
Will you tell us something about your father, Mr. Marius?
Well, what, for instance?
What he did, who he worked for, his association?
He worked for humanity. He was a clergyman.
A clergyman?
Yes. My father was minister of the Hillside Church around the corner. Anyone in the neighborhood can tell you about his associations. Gentlemen, I'm proud to be able to say that my father, Ludwig Marius, was the most loved member of this community. What is this all about, please?
Casey, you answer that.
I guess we might as well be going, Logan. Wait. Your father died 10 years ago, Mr. Marius?
Yes.
Logan, didn't Manny Armstrong live in this neighborhood just before his arrest?
Yeah, on Burnham Street, about 6 blocks from here.
Mr. Marius, did your father die on January 21st?
Why, yes. January 21st, 1938.
That's it.
What's it?
Where was he buried, Mr. Marius?
Why, in Beechwood Cemetery. In our family plot.
Thanks. I think I've got it now.
You've got what?
Sure I have, Annie. And Mr. Marius has helped me remember all the numbers stamped on that key. I said he'd be the works of this thing.
Will you tell us?
Sure. We're going to Beechwood Cemetery from here. And watch.
Casey. Someone's coming. I see, Logan.
A man. Among those tombstones. He looks like a ghost.
Ghosts don't carry a pick and shovel, Annie. I don't think.
Casey. He's a big man.
Bet he is. He's the guy who socked us. I won't forget him. That's your Mr. E-ring. Are you sure?
I am. That's the overcoat he had on. And the hat.
Well, if you're both positive in your identification, I'll step out from behind this monument right
Oh, no,
now.
no, you won't, pal. This is my party.
Casey, come back here. He's twice as big as you are.
Yeah, but I'm twice as mad.
We'll join the crowd at the Blue Note in just a moment. You know, one of the most heartwarming salutations in the world is the phrase, have a cup of coffee. But how often comes the polite, hesitant response, oh, don't go to all that trouble. Well, you know, now you can truthfully say, why, it's no trouble at all. It'll only take a moment. For that's all the time it takes to make a delicious, steaming cup of coffee when you use the amazing new discovery, soluble coffee. Now, you put a spoonful of this new kind of coffee in a cup, add hot water, and there you are. That's all there is to it. Now, that's simple, isn't it? And if you haven't tried any of the perfected time-saving instant coffees now on the market, buy a jar tomorrow and give your family and friends a treat. Soluble coffee is particularly welcome at breakfast when time is at a premium. 2/3 of the soluble coffees now on the market are packed in sanitary anchor glass jars and protected by anchor caps. These anchor glass jars and anchor caps protect soluble coffee perfectly against harmful moisture. They're easy to open, easy to measure from, and easy to reseal. Anchor glass jars and anchor caps are both products of Anchor Hocking, the most famous name in glass.
Oh, Ethelbert. I sure was proud of him.
Yeah, but look at his face, Miss Williams. All those E's.
Well, at least he tried. It's a good thing Captain Logan was there.
You say them plates for making counterfeit $5 and $10 bills was really in that preacher's coffin, Casey?
Yeah. That's where they were, Ethelbert.
Mr. Ludwig Marius died at just the time the Treasury agents were about to close in on Manny Armstrong. So he made an apparently innocent visit to the Marius home where the minister was lying in his coffin.
Yeah, while nobody was paying any attention, he shoved the plates under the body.
Oh, then he had that key made so he wouldn't forget where he put them.
Oh, no, not then. No. He made the key himself in prison about 5 years later. He realized he was beginning to lose his memory.
And he passed it to his lawyer for safekeeping, without giving the lawyer any hint that it was more than an ordinary key.
The lawyer told you this?
No. We got the dope from Mr. E-ring. His real name is Ellis Eno. Eno was a convict in Lewisburg prison at the same time as Armstrong.
And the old counterfeiter was delirious for a while, and he spilled the story of the key to Eno, but he couldn't remember the name stamped on it or the number.
What was the meaning of that number?
It was the date of Marius's death. 1/21/38, which translates pretty easily as January 21st, 1938.
I see.
I thought you would. Well, Eno got out of the pen before the old man did and waited. Armstrong saw Eno tailing him, and after he got the key from his lawyer, suspected why he was being tailed, dropped the key in a little Julius Shapiro's toy bank, and you know the rest.
Well, and best of all, Bill Shapiro is going to get the reward for finding those plates.
Casey, will you and Miss Williams have a cup of coffee on the house?
Coffee?
Yeah, I'll have Walter get it for you.
No, thanks, pal.
No coffee for us.
Oh, we're going home.
And get some sleep.
Yeah, nothing's going to stop us this time, either.
Oh, excuse me, there's the bar.
Annie. Hey, that must be Bert with another assignment. Come on, let's get out of here.
I'm with you, Casey. Run.
Blue Note Cafe, Ethelbert speaking. No, sir, they have went. Huh? Oh, I see. You just wanted to tell them that their pictures are in the February issue of Movie Star Parade magazine. Gee, swell. I'll tell them. Goodbye.
Crime Photographer, starring Stotts Cotsworth as Casey, is brought to you by the Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation, makers of Fire King Oven Glass. Anchor glass containers, Anchor caps and closures. All products of Anchor Hocking, the most famous name in glass. Crime Photographer is directed by John Deese and is based on the fictional character of Flash Gun Casey created by George Harmon Cox. Original music is by Archie Blyer, and the program features Miss Jan Miner as Anne and John Gibson as Ethelbert. Herman Chittison is the Blue Note pianist. This is Tony Marvin saying goodnight for the Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation of Lancaster, Ohio, with offices in all principal cities of the United States and Canada. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.